And we're back. Chatterbox number 70, Let Loose the Dogs of Hypocrisy. With Dade Skittles McStabby Pants on a Wednesday because unfortunately I got work stuff tomorrow. So that's just how it's got to be.
Yeah.
So do you want to get cracking with that weird nonsense that was on, I don't know whose channel you sent me to?
Oh, it was Irate Bears, I think.
Yeah, I listened to that stuff this morning, and that was some fucking weird fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
They all sounded so fucking dumb.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, man. Yeah, like I said, I just clicked on it because it was actually Sofane who tweeted it out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it must have been early on. I don't know if he was, because I think Sofane was in the chat kind of talking shit.
Well, I think Sofane just tweets out stuff that he's like, you should take a look at. I don't think he's necessarily like saying, oh, this is a good thing you should go watch, in as much as this is something you should see, that, you know, the stupidity of it kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I said, I think he tweeted it out well before any of that shit happened, before like Andy and all them came on.
Yeah. Oh, Akadaro just joined us. Thanks for joining us. And apparently he was in the hospital for the flu, so hopefully... Oh, he coughs so hard that he can vomit. That sucks, God, man. Yeah. I hope you get well soon.
Yeah.
That is bad.
Fucked up. Did they at least give you some codeine cough syrup? Because that helps.
Yeah, it usually like knock you out and let you sleep through a lot of it.
Yeah. It just numbs you up, dude.
Yep. I don't know. Maybe you can get that in the store in places in Europe, though, because like a lot of places don't have quite as ridiculous of laws around that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'd be curious about that.
Yeah.
I wonder if you can actually just get it over the counter.
Yeah, where it's a lot easier to get. I think you still need like a doctor's recommendation, but it's not as like you can have 10 fucking pills and you got to pay $500 and like that kind of shit.
All right.
It's like the doctor says, oh, he needs, codeine cough syrup. So, he can go pick it up and you can go buy a bottle, and so you don't need it anymore, and then you're done. Like it's not as frantic.
Yeah. Although I think codeine is still, it's still controlled, it's still an opiate, right? I believe.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's still narcotic.
Yeah.
I just mean, like, here it's like you're only allowed to have X number of ounces, and if you go over it, you're a drug dealer, and you got to pay like ridiculous amounts of money.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fucking weird.
Oh, they gave him more Xanax? Fucking dude, don't send it to me. That's a terrible idea. Yeah.
Yeah, wink, wink. Don't send it to him, wink.
No, we're not encouraging like an international fucking drug trade.
Yeah.
That's a horrible plan.
Yeah, get arrested by Interpol.
Oh no, but back to these Lackwit ranting monkey and stuff. I thought it was interesting because I don't really care much for Ranting Monkey. I don't find him to be very accurate or honest about things in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I don't.
But he was making a pretty fucking valid point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, again, I'm exactly the same feelings on Ranting Monkey. I think he's an idiot most times, dude. And he's too emotional most times that I've seen him. So the ranting thing
American on his show, which is just dragging everything down because she is so fucking dumb. Yeah. I mean, it's an accurate name. She knows. So what else do you have to say, right?
Yeah, no, they both seem to have pretty accurate monikers. Ranting Monkey and some dumb American. Yeah.
But I don't know where to go. I just it's so frustrating.
Yeah, well, the thing that I was like, again, I keyed in on was like Sinatra and this fucking bootlicking bullshit, dude. Holy shit!
Oh,
man.
that. Well, then don't watch it. So
yeah,
pisses me off to no fucking bounds.
Yeah, well, it wasn't even that.
If you don't like criticism, sir, But that doesn't fucking mean I don't get to fucking criticize you.
Yeah, it's a bit of
fucking invalidated either.
Yeah,
that pisses me off so fucking much.
And besides that, that wasn't his fucking point.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't his point at all, dude. His whole fucking point, and Sinatra was on there to fucking hear it. He's like, "Oh, I just checked on." Like, you fucking heard it. You just fucking weren't listening because you're so fucking locked in on defending the guys that you want to fucking latch onto.
Yeah, well, you want to try to ride wasn't he also simulcasting fucking their stream? Like, that was so fucking shady.
Yeah, without fucking telling him or asking him. Yeah, that seems like I don't know how that shit works, but that seems like a fucking pretty serious breach of etiquette.
That's pretty inappropriate. It's pretty fucking shady to be streaming somebody else's stream at the same time without them knowing.
Yeah, or at least even if you're doing it without permission, at least give them a heads up. Like, but he didn't even fucking do that.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
Like, wow. But yeah. But yeah, it's he seems to want to fill that kind of Yobi attack dog role.
Oh,
and see the fucking irony of his fucking behavior, dude. It's fucking amazing. Yeah,
I thought it was pretty fucking funny when Ranting Monkey was like, "Well, how about you shut the fuck up and let Andy talk for himself?"
Yeah, it's like, dude, he's perfectly capable of talking or answering for himself. And then he's like, "Ooh, Monkey mad."
Well, and then the funny thing was, Monkey's whole point was like, "Hey, Andy, look, you're super successful, but you're acting like you're way too thin-skinned and you're letting this stuff get to you too much, and you should probably work on that."
Yeah,
that's essentially what he said.
Well, he was basically saying, why are you bothering? Like, fucking, if they're just talking shit, like, why are you fucking bothering? You know, which is a valid point.
Andy came on and just freaked out, proving exactly what Ranting Monkey had said correct.
Yeah. Yeah, well, at first he's like, dude, it's just a joke, you know? Like, which is what they like to fall back on.
It's like he signed off to go talk to whoever that person was and then came back, but you know what? And then it started going off.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're making yourself look even dumber and more thin-skinned.
Yeah. The lack of self-awareness of these people is fucking fascinating, dude.
Well, so the thing is, it's exactly like arguing with social justice warriors. And in that they never confront your point; they just turn around and insult your character.
Yeah. No, that's why
there's never an argument.
Yeah, I don't know who came up with it, but they did. It's not a stretch, but the first person I heard I think it was the "Hi, I Think I'm Real" guy, who came up with the right wing SJW moniker.
Right wing SJWs. That's actually pretty good. That's appropriate.
Yeah. Which definitely, again, the horseshoe theory that I've been talking about for fucking ever.
And my concern. Okay, so like I don't generally watch this stuff. I watch the clips you send me. I think you probably watch more of it than I do. But these people regularly, because of the size of their followings, are damaging other people's careers. And that's the part that concerns me, and the reason why I have criticized and will continue to criticize people like this who take the moral high ground, who can't defend the moral high ground because they don't actually have it. They just claim it.
Right.
Who don't make any actual arguments yet claim they're smarter than anyone else. And just attack people's character with baseless accusations that they don't fucking have evidence for, like at least half the time.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
If it was just some bullshit Jerry Springer show nonsense, which is what it's obviously based off of.
Right.
Where two people or more just got mad and yelled at each other a lot, and you stole my fucking baby daddy's uncle's cousin fucking dog. I don't give a shit.
Right.
But it comes down to, they fucking did serious damage to events. They've done serious damage to people's careers. They've damaged just people's reputations for no reason, and in ways that are actually probably illegal in many cases.
All right. Yeah, and just all in the name of fucking sensationalism and fucking views and clicks.
Exactly. And then they claim, well, it's just entertainment. You don't get to criticize me. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Bullshit. Yeah, I'm sorry, that doesn't work for me. You can't. That it's complete hypocrisy.
Mm. Yeah, which is again part of his ranting monkey's point about the whole thing too. Oh man.
Well, and then if you looked at Matoker's video, his whole point was, well, it's super popular, so shut up. Fuck that nonsense. He didn't have a single fucking valid argument. Like, his whole point was that it was popular. So fucking what, man? The fucking Colosseum games in Rome were overwhelmingly fucking popular. That doesn't make them okay.
Yeah, the Paul brothers are fucking popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Serial killers have fan clubs, you stupid fucking cunt. Popularity does not imply correctness.
Yeah. Like, there are countless examples throughout history of fucking the appeal to popularity.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But again, Medicare, as long as you're not fucking actually trying to accomplish any change in the world and make the world a better place, he's going to be okay with whatever you're doing.
Yeah, well, he's too much of a pussy to stand up for his own fucking beliefs.
Yeah. Well, again, I think I've expressed my theory here of him, seemingly going on nihilistic because Gamergate didn't turn out exactly the way he wanted. So he said,
no, that's really obvious at this point. Like, he got let down by the community, so now he just wants to fucking destroy it. Like, it's really clear at this point.
Yeah, well, no, he fucking wants to laugh at anybody who actually wants to try to make a fucking change, a positive change. That's my fucking biggest issue with him, is he wants to tear down people just for having the audacity of actually trying to do something positive.
Earrings cinnamon. I can cracked in with earring cinnamon was popular. Cinnamon, like eating,
the cinnamon challenge.
Oh yeah, the cinnamon challenge. Yeah, we all know how popular. Yeah, that was really fucking dumb. People died from that, if I'm not mistaken.
No shit.
Yeah, no, because it sucks the moisture out of your mouth, and it's such a strong flavor that people would like spit out, but sometimes they would inhale too. And the particles,
it's really fine particles. Yeah,
and the particles.
Yeah, well, dude, the Tide Pod challenge just happened.
Yeah. Oh, somebody's actually eating fucking Tide Pods? That's actually a thing now?
You haven't fucking heard of the Tide Pod challenge?
Holy shit, is this a real thing? I've heard of the Tide Pod thing where people are like, they look like kids. They're delicious, like as a joke.
But they're not like actually like swallowing it for the most part. Some of them probably are fucking idiots, but yeah, they're fucking putting it in their mouth and fucking it and biting down on it. It's pretty much over by now, but it was probably a few weeks ago, a month ago or so. Yeah, it was a fucking huge thing, and it wasn't even fucking just kids, dude. It was fucking like not even young kids. It was like fucking like late teens, fucking and up, dude. Yeah.
Oh, what was it? There was a fucking that reminded me that because I looked that up. Yeah, you're fucking absolutely right. That shit happened. God damn. Not that I doubted you. I just wanted it to be wrong.
I'm surprised you missed it. That shit was fucking everywhere. Tide actually made commercials about it, dude. With what's his name, Gronkowski, Rob Gronkowski from the Patriots.
Oh, blame him, man. Jesus. But there's another one. So you can find this. I forget what the name of it is, but it's essentially videos where people pull guns on other people and be like, "Where's your gun? Why aren't you strapped and ready to go?" And it's almost entirely black kids.
That's fucking crazy.
It's absolutely insane, and it's clearly like in like ghetto type neighborhoods, like really fucking gang infested areas and stuff. So like, but they all just think it's this big laugh, and it's like, you're out of your fucking minds. These are fucking guns. Like, you're gonna pull it on somebody and get shot. Like, they're not gonna realize you're joking. They're just gonna take defensive action.
Yeah, that's fucking amazing. All right, I missed that one.
In one of them, they fucking pulled into a fast food drive-thru and pulled the gun on the person inside, and then drove off laughing because the person freaked out.
Wow.
Like, of course, fucking hilarious. He doesn't know you, and you just pulled a fucking gun on her.
Yeah, they're fucking driving around like everyone knows that the fucking joke is happening.
Yeah. Oh God, it's insane.
Yeah. Eesh, that's gonna end fucking
And I
badly.
think I was right. One person made it as a joke, and kids copy it. In that case, there's a few of the videos I saw in one of the compilations I watched where it was obviously set up, like the the person was like went into somebody's room and he's like, where's your strap or something like that, I forget what it's called, but and then the other person pops up with like an automatic fucking rifle and like combat gear on, like, so clearly they like set it up as a joke.
Yeah, as a fucking parody. Yeah, the same way the quote unquote prank channels do shit.
Yeah. But like, you can tell that a lot of them are not like pre-set up jokes. They're legitimately some idiot pulling a gun on somebody thinking that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's like anybody who knows gun safety at all, the very first thing you taught pretty much is don't point the gun at something you don't want shot.
Yeah, you always treat a fucking gun as if it's loaded. Don't fucking point it at anybody ever. Yeah,
unless you want to shoot something, you don't point the gun at what you anything other than like the ground, unless that's what you want to kill. Because let's be fair, guns are inanimate objects, but they are tools designed for killing things.
Yeah, and there's again countless examples of fucking people fucking around with guns and having them go off and killing people, maiming and killing people.
Well, I mean, even in like law enforcement classrooms, they've had people who are teaching gun safety in classrooms accidentally discharge guns that were loaded.
Yeah. In fact, like, it was one of the ones, dude. In fact, I don't know if you watched Matt Christensen's video about the.
Oh yeah, he cited one of the events that they claimed was a school shooting was one of those. Yeah, that's was one of those, but that's happened multiple other times too. It's not a new thing, unfortunately.
Right. But yeah, pointing a fucking gun, any real fucking gun, oh, maybe it's not loaded. Fucking dude. Again, you don't know if one's chambered or not. You know what I mean? Even if you took the clip out or whatever, you never fucking know. That's why you don't you always assume or always, again, treat it as if it's fucking loaded.
I had a friend of mine that had like a couple of 12 gauges, or not 12 gauges, but a couple of shotguns, not specifically 12 gauge rounds, but they also had a couple of pistols, and he always kept his guns loaded but not chambered. So, like, you'd have to run the action through once in order to shoot them, but you wouldn't have to actively load them first.
Right.
You did keep them in safe areas where they were very much not accessible unless you knew right where they were, and they were locked up. But they were always loaded and ready to go. It was never a case of like, well, I bought this for self-defense, but I'm going to just, hopefully fucking load bullets into a clip and then put the clip into my pistol while somebody's breaking in.
Yeah. Do you know much about guns, dude, or not really?
I don't own any guns because I'm in California, but I have shot them. I do understand how they work for the most part.
Oh, okay, but not like any kind of in-depth knowledge about them or anything then, right?
No.
Okay.
I would love to get myself like a nice little 22 rifle and like a nice little like 38 caliber pistol. I think would be nice for like self-defense kind of things. Something that's not overpowered, but will stop somebody if you need to.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, the reason I ask is I don't know if you're familiar with Jay Fry from. He's he's the main moderator from or one of the main moderators from Matt Christensen's and Blonde's show.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I know that guy. Yeah, I don't know him, but I know him.
Yeah, the guy that the caps lock Nazi. If you do anything in caps lock, he'll fucking delete your comments. That guy.
Oh,
but
really?
yeah, like him. He's like pretty hardcore into the guns and shit. I was thinking about trying to get him on because like we follow each other on Twitter and shit, and I catch his live streams whenever they're on. Talking shit usually. Yeah, I don't know. I like the dude. He's got a pretty twisted sense of humor, dude. So I'd like to get him on here. Although I didn't necessarily want to talk about guns.
Anybody you want to invite on, absolutely invite on.
Yeah,
that's totally fine.
Probably should have brought that up off air. What the fuck?
Oh yeah, I just I'm always interested in talking to other people. I'm not really interested in talking with like the Tonkasaw crowd at this point, just because they don't have any real discussion. They're just going to come on and be like, well, you're what is it? You're bitch made. You're a pussy. You're not a real man. You're weak.
Yeah,
and it's like, you've not made an actual argument, and I don't really have any respect for your opinion. So it doesn't fucking matter if all you want to do is attack my character. You just look dumb.
Right. Yeah, that one yesterday. That one yesterday, especially. Like he, in my opinion, man.
Oh yeah, that's right. When he went on. Yeah, when I Tonkasaw got on there.
Out of his element, off his channel, it does kind of look fucking ridiculous, man. I mean,
yeah, when he's not playing in his own fucking house, it's ridiculous. Here's my suspicion, and allow me to make a little ridiculous leap here. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I suspect that Tonkasaw and Andy, and probably a lot of these people, really got fucking bullied in some way, shape, or form a lot when they were younger.
Oh yeah. Andy for sure.
Were clearly smarter than them because they're not terribly bright.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that really to be mean. I'm just like, I'm being honest. They're just not that bright.
I shouldn't laugh, but yeah, it is an observation I've had. It's
laugh all you want. It was aimed for a laugh. Yeah. I'm just being honest. Like, I really want to make that clear. I'm not just throwing aspersions.
Yeah, no, they definitely
stating facts.
Yeah, they definitely seem to be below average intelligence-wise, for sure. I think Andy's even alluded to it, actually, where he's like, I'd like to take an IQ test. I'm sure I'd be like average or below average. So he seems to be aware of it, but it doesn't seem to stop him from knowing everything somehow. They're thinking he's fucking somehow perfect and beyond reproach. Yeah, it's fucking amazing. Yeah, that's what I kind of wonder. Like, I wonder if Tonka could actually fucking argue if he tried. I don't think he can, dude. Because
no, I mean, you look at the stuff he does when he tries to enter any sort of like intellectual argument or arena and provide evidence to back his statements. It's all arguments that other people who are clearly more intelligent made that he doesn't necessarily understand. Or like in a specific instance, so this obviously doesn't prove the rule, but this specific instance, he sent me a screenshot of a website's form with things underlined like in MS Paint.
All right.
As evidence that it was a functional website. I'm like, no, that just means that it has a page up that you can view. That doesn't mean that it does anything or that anything you put on the form goes anywhere.
Oh, the red pill black thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wasn't trying to. I didn't want to retrace old things, but I'm like specifically like that really only proves that when you type in this website, this page comes up. It doesn't mean anything else. Like that's not evidence of a functional anything really.
Yeah.
That's like showing me the car and underlining the tires, and wanting me to believe that there's guaranteed to be an engine that's fully functional in the car. When I've already said, hey, it looks like that car doesn't work because the hood's up and there's no fucking engine in it.
Yeah, and in that specific scenario, that it was pretty much proven that it really wasn't fully functional. It wasn't a fucking database.
And you'd have to, in order to prove that it was functional, you'd have to prove there was data traffic going to and from the website. Or you'd have to show that you hacked into. I would assume you'd have to hack into the database and actually, like, take screenshots of the actual database, and none of which they did.
And that's the thing is, there's absolutely no nuance in their thinking. There really isn't.
Okay, in a real debate, you don't just call out a fallacy,
right?
You don't just stop and go red herring. No, you. In fact, it's actually really rare for people to name the fallacy in real debate. In most cases, what they'll do is they'll walk the people who are watching the debate through how it's incorrect as an argument, basically walking them through how it's a fallacy without actually labeling it specifically and not addressing it.
Yeah, as opposed to, again, just labeling it and not pointing out why.
Yeah. You can label it, but generally you're better off just explaining how it's wrong, because, I mean, especially some things like slippery slope, it may be a fallacious argument, but that doesn't necessarily make it an invalid argument.
Right.
Because the real world, sometimes things are in fact a slippery slope.
Right.
You have to demonstrate
like
how
slippery slopes don't
not
happen.
A real slippery slope. What they're saying is incorrect. You have to demonstrate how it's incorrect. Or you haven't proven anything. You've just said words and look like a fucking idiot with a fucking pegboard, like a caveman trying to put a circle through a square hole.
Yeah, Vegan Gains is fucking notorious for that.
Yeah,
he will fucking dismiss everything you say as fucking. I think someone explained to him. I haven't watched him in a long time, but the last time I saw it, it was pretty obvious that somebody told him, dude, you stop using the word fallacy. Whatever you do, I mean, he still did the same thing. He just phrased it without using the word fallacy. It was pretty funny, because then it was like, oh, that's anecdotal.
Did he ever explain which fallacy it was? I don't think he ever did.
Yeah, no, he would usually he would do it for everything, dude. Literally,
I know he would claim fallacy, but did he ever say which fallacy it was?
Yeah, he would. Yeah, he would for the most part. He actually would. It didn't always, and rarely really fucking applied or made sense, but
he clearly doesn't understand how fallacies actually work. But
but it was just weird.
If he'd gone to the trouble of memorizing the actual list of fallacies.
But that was his debate. That was his debate tactic, or probably still is, I'm sure, of just dismissing everything as that doesn't.
Destiny's debate tactic, where I get you to agree to one thing and then I just rattle off a list of things that aren't necessarily related as though they are, in order to try to force you into agreeing with this last statement, which you clearly don't.
Yeah, like you agreed with this and this, so you have to agree with this.
It's sort of like a long train of false equivalency.
Right.
Fallacious argument. He's so good at it. I can't off the top of my head call off one of the ones he's done, but it's generally like almost 10 steps. He just goes, well, you would agree with this, and you're like, well, yeah, I would agree with that, and then and all these things that don't really actually prove one another.
Yeah, he's a little fucking psychopath, dude. But yeah, he fucking that's his main technique too. And if that doesn't work, he's kind of fucking done.
No, that's all he's got. That's his biggest hammer in his toolbox. Treat everything like nails.
Yeah, but none of them seem to really, again, attack the argument itself or lay out why. It's fallacious, that kind of, like you said. Although, again, Tonka and them don't even really do that. They just kind of name call for the most part.
Yeah, well, that's the really big issue I have with a lot of the things is they never attack art ideas. They always just insult people.
Yeah, and that was actually ranting. I hate agreeing with Ranting Monkey because I think he's a dumbass too. But yeah, that was his fucking point. That was what Sinatra was bringing up to him, was like, oh, how is it hypocritical? Or fucking whatever. And he's like, dude, you're making fun of a guy for fucking, for having a stutter. And then he's like, we make fun of Andy too. And I'm like, dude, it's not the fucking same, and you fucking know it. Like, you're fucking, goofing on Andy a little, like, good naturedly or whatever you want to call it. And when you're doing it to this other guy, I haven't seen it, so I'm assuming that it is the way that Ranting laid it out, which is probably a big assumption. But it sounded like they basically fucking said, you stutter, so your argument's invalid. Not directly, but...
The thing is, they'll make fun of people for things and then accept those same exact faults in their friends, but use the faults that their friends have. Oh, hey, Englehart, hope you enjoy your lunch. Nice to see you.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah, I have work tomorrow, so unfortunately, I have to do some sort of fucking meeting. I don't know what it is. I assume it's going to be stupid.
Yeah, it's about feminism
experience.
Feminism in the mental health.
It has a feel. It has a feel of this other company that we work with on the house I work in, and one of their trainings coming up. I just feel like it's been a long enough time that we were due for another one of those fucking ridiculous nonsense trainings.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm going to be sitting there tomorrow for 2 hours wanting to fucking chew my brain out.
Do you have a specific training department, or is it just somebody from HR?
So it's this weird fucking quasi training where they just bring people in to talk about how important they think they are and how they're perfect at everything and why we should try to be like them. Really weird. The one saving grace about the feminist therapist we have, who's a feminist psychology student. That's not even a school of psychology, by the way.
Right.
At least I don't think it is. I have to look that up because I could be wrong.
Yeah, who knows nowadays?
Probably there is now. Is she at least admits she doesn't know everything?
Wow, are you sure she's a feminist?
Yeah. Well, she's old school, so it's not terrible. Like, it's not quite as bad. Oh no, feminist psychology. Apparently there is.
Jesus.
Oh, history. Oh, apparently it started in the 60s and 70s. Good God.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's.
I think that was back when feminism was like halfway decent.
When it was actually like a worthwhile cause where you were literally fighting for equal rights.
Yeah, where they had something. They weren't inventing dragons to slay like they do nowadays.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, the one saving note was that she admits she doesn't know everything, and that there's going to be situations in which, we probably have more information, and she'd like to actually participate in like discussion to figure these things out.
Yeah, that's good. That's something.
It was just like, and here's this tool we're going to use. I'm perfect at it, but I don't expect you to be as good as me. All of his trainings.
Stroking his own ego, dude.
That's my God. I don't think anybody else got as much entertainment out of that as I did. I mean, it was a waste of my fucking time. And when I was on graveyard shift and awake all night, and I had to fucking go in for like 2 hours in the middle of when I slept, it pissed me off beyond any fucking reason, because why am I awake for this garbage?
Right.
But since I've been on my asleep overnights and I don't have to, they're not waking me up in the middle of the day, I'm just enjoying the absurdity of it,
right.
So it's much more entertaining for me now.
Yeah, you just go into it. Yeah, it depends on your attitude. If you're just pissed off, you got to be in there on your day off. If you go into it thinking like, okay, this is going to be pretty entertaining because this guy's a fucking jackass,
I think anybody
makes it a little easier.
I think anybody who's forced to either stay up late or get up early because of their bad timing, works the graveyard shifts would be upset, even if it was training, just because there's, for the overnights, really a lot of this stuff is just completely not applicable.
Right. Yeah, it's almost like they're just like, oh shit, I got to do one of these stupid trainings because I want to feel important. I want to feel like I'm doing something.
Well, and in most jobs I've ever worked a graveyard shift in, they'll have somebody come in the evening and work with people, as opposed to making the graveyard shift people come in like during the middle of the day.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I'm like, why didn't they just have a fucking someone come in, like, have you come in 2 hours early? Yeah, and do it that way, or stay 2 hours late, whatever the fuck, or film the stupid ass thing and make you watch the film, or something stupid like that.
Yeah, no, we requested that on numerous occasions. They tried to do it. They're just incompetent.
They can't figure out how to film it, or
yeah, no. Every time they filmed it, it would come out completely wrong, and I'm like, how are you that bad at filming? You set up,
dude, you could use your fucking phone.
Record it. Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it was. I don't know how they lost every single one they filmed.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I'm not going to volunteer because number one, it doesn't affect me. I don't work graveyard shift anymore. But I work graveyard, but I'm not awake all night. But I mean, number two, I just don't want that to be my responsibility, because I wouldn't really be compensated for it. It would just be a waste of my time. I'd be dealing with a lot of people that would be ungrateful about, how much it actually benefit that is for everybody.
Yeah, dude. Although that feminist thing reminds me, dude, did you see the the response to Jennifer Lawrence's wearing a dress in that photo for whatever show she was on?
No, did people get all upset about that? Like her dress?
Yeah. Well, this is the thing is all it's her, and then all the other four are guys, and they're wearing like suits and shit. Like it's fucking the middle of winter or wherever the fuck they are. So, I guess it's middle of winter everywhere here in the northern hemisphere. But anyways, like it was cold there, so people were freaking out. Like, oh, this is bullshit. This is patriarchy and sexist. Why are they all dressed up and she's in a revealing dress? And fucking basically
like
Jennifer Lawrence, huh?
What? Is it an advertisement? Like, what is the picture?
Yeah,
for?
you know how they, it's essentially a promo picture. Yeah. So, or I think it was at an award show or something. But either way, even Jennifer Lawrence basically hit back on it.
You have to. It's her job.
Yeah. So let me read hers because it's kind of funny because I don't think she realizes that. Well, let me read it.
Oh,
so her response was, "Wow, I don't really know where to get started on this Jennifer Lawrence wearing a revealing dress in the cold controversy. This is not only utterly ridiculous, I am extremely offended. That Versace dress was fabulous. You think I'm going to cover that gorgeous dress up with a coat and a scarf? I was outside for 5 minutes. I would have stood in the snow for that dress because I love fashion and that was my choice." This is the next part, and the next part coming up here is fucking priceless. She says, "This is sexist. This is ridiculous. This is not feminism." It totally is. It exactly is, Lawrence. Okay.
Well, I mean, she's going to save democracy because Trump got elected, and that wasn't her choice. But it apparently can't be anyone else's choice either, which is
it's so fucking amazing
right now.
But it's funny. Listen to the rest of this, dude, because to me, it's describing feminism to a T. The rest of it goes, overreacting about everything someone says or does, creating controversy over silly, innocuous things such as what I choose to wear or not wear is not moving us forward. It's creating silly distractions from real issues. Get a grip, people. Everything you see me wear is my choice. And if I want to be cold, that's my choice too. So I think that's fucking hilarious because, dude, that kind of is feminism. I don't know. Maybe she'll realize that.
In a lot of cases. I mean, there was the whole fucking air conditioning controversy about like air conditioning in businesses.
Yeah.
And it's like women complaining that the air conditioning was sexist. And it's like, no, man, a lot of people are forced into wearing these really hot outfits. And it's easier for you to put on a little more clothes, like a sweater.
Right. Yeah, I remember it.
Like, for them to not wear stuff because
like I worked in a call center for when I worked for Liberty Mutual, and the girls would just have a sweater because it was weird. Because again, it's Arizona, so especially during the fucking summer, you go outside and it's fucking blazing hot, but then you come inside and the AC is pretty low. Because here's the alternative, ladies. It's either that or we're going to put it at a temperature where you're comfortable. And every single guy is sweating fucking buckets,
and that's you can't fucking just take off all your clothes, dude. As a guy. Like that's not acceptable.
Yeah, we can't fucking wear low cut fucking tops and fucking skirts.
Just
and
think,
shit.
Do you want to smell a room full of guys ball sweat? As their balls just sit in that little fucking soup in their chair, or do you just want to, put on a fucking a little jacket or something, you know what I mean?
See, that's the thing. The girls that, were prone to being cold like that would have a sweater hanging on their chair when they weren't there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'd go outside. Obviously, they're fine when they're outside. But, when they get back to their desk, they put the sweater on.
Well, and I'm guessing there was
when they go back outside.
I'm guessing you had, like, a pretty strict dress code. A lot of those corporate jobs have that really strict, like, you must wear like long slacks and like a button-up long sleeve shirt and that kind of thing.
Yeah, they relaxed it quite a bit for a while, but for the most part, it was you have to have at least a polo shirt and a fucking pants and not jeans. You couldn't wear jeans.
Yeah, so if the AC was turned down a little bit, you got all these people that are forced into these hotter outfits. That's so weird.
Yeah,
why are we even arguing this? It's such a silly thing.
Yeah. I just thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Like that she actually specifically said, "This is not feminism." Like, dude, it totally is, dude. That is what's going on in feminism, bitch.
Well, I mean, you have that one where it's like that lady who fucking opens a fucking rotten can of food and pours it in her vagina and fucking smears it all over herself while peeing on fucking stage. That's some sort of performance that's like a feminist performance. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that postmodern shit.
Eggs up her vagina and tries to fucking kegel them out onto a fucking mat underneath her.
Yeah, no, it's fucking ridiculous, man. Like it's not even it. It's one thing when it was supposed to have some kind of deeper meaning, and you, like maybe you just didn't get it. But now it's just like I thought of some weird shit to do, and there's no deeper meaning behind it. It's just
now
weird
it's
shit
people
I thought
with
of
severe mental illnesses who aren't being treated, but are being treated as though they're normal, rational people by a large group.
Yeah,
to, like,
but yeah, that's what kind of bugged me.
The problem.
Yeah, I don't like any of the modern art much, or I shouldn't say I don't like any of it, but there's really not much modern art that I'm into. And postmodern art, I fucking absolutely fucking despise, dude.
I want people to push the edges. I want people to push the limits. But at the same time, I want us to acknowledge that mixing your own feces with paint, and this has nothing to do with feminism, this is just something that like some artists have done. Mixing your own blood or feces with the paint is not a statement of anything other than there's something fucking wrong with you.
Yeah. Who was the one that had fucking gallons and gallons of their own piss, and they did some kind of exhibit? It was an anti-Trump exhibit or something, dude. But it was just like 2,000 gallons or something of his own piss that they had saved over the years. It was really fucking twisted.
They were going to save their own urine until Trump was out of office or something.
No, I think they did. I think they had it already saved up, if I remember correctly.
Well, who knows? Because somebody like that is clearly not rational.
Right.
I mean, it's like
they're saving it up.
Built the border wall, we're going to cut our balls off. It's like that doesn't make sense. Like I don't see the connection.
Yeah,
I also don't see how that's going to motivate anybody not to build the wall.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous, dude. But yeah, my issue with the postmodern art is it doesn't look like it's hard to do, for one thing. I don't like looking at any kind of fucking art and thinking, yeah, I could easily do that. I could fucking reproduce that. You know what I mean? That's my main pet peeve, dude. Is
if you just smeared yourself with paint, got into bed on top of a canvas, and then woke up the next morning and put it out and said, this is the interpretation of my postmodernist dream. You know, like that would be, you know, the equivalent. It's not like it's any real effort gone into like learning how to paint and make like interesting.
Dude, this is fucking. This is. Here's a story that fucking perfectly illustrates. This story is fucking hilarious to me. But basically, there was an art teacher who basically presented his class with this, painting or whatever, where it's again just a bunch of smudges and smears and whatever, the way they kind of do that shit, right? And he was like, "What does this? What do you guys think this means? Like, how do you guys interpret this?" And they're all given their different interpretations of what they think it means, right? And then basically he reveals that all it was a fucking close-up shot of his fucking smock, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just a fucking mess on the front of his fucking painting smock, dude.
Yeah, and let me be clear. I fully support anybody's right to do whatever crazy shit I've talked about. I just want to be able to say that they're out of their fucking minds.
Yeah.
All have
I don't know.
They can pee on themselves. I can say that that's bullshit. Everybody wins.
Yeah, and again, it's not like I fucking think everything has to be like photorealistic, like a fucking Titian or a fucking.
My favorite art is Impressionism. I'm a huge fan of the Impressionists.
Yeah, my favorites are basically like Van Gogh. I love his shit. And that's not even close to realistic looking. Yeah. But it's fucking. There's something like. I don't know how to describe it, man, but fucking Van Gogh's paintings, dude.
There is a soul to the works of art that some people make.
Yeah, yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily require you to be like a Van Gogh. It could be some dude in his garage. But it's a glimpse of that soul that they put into it.
Yeah,
and it makes a connection between you and the piece of art.
Yeah,
I know
and then,
but you know, there's a difference between somebody
I'm with you.
around with their balls on a fucking vase.
Right.
You know, there's no soul, there's no anima, there's no feel to that.
Yeah, it's just exhibitionism essentially.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, no, with Van Gogh specifically, like it's almost like you can see the fucking crazy, the insanity and the mania. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
like,
with his paint, absolutely.
Yeah, like it really seemed for me. It actually evokes a fucking visceral response when I fucking see it. I'm like, wow, like this dude was fucking nuts. Like I don't know, man. Like it looks kind of cool the way he does the shit. That's part of it too, but it's something about the way he painted that conveys that fucking craziness to me, dude. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or Cezanne was a little more realistic looking shit, just with weird kind of colors and shit. But I like Cezanne too. Cezanne's good shit.
Yeah, I like stuff that's impressionistic style art, and I also like stuff with a lot of chiaroscuro, a lot of like shadows and contrasts and stuff like that. Just that's the kind of stuff that I really dig.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Cezanne or not really?
No, not with Cezanne.
Dude, do a quick image search, dude, and see if it's kind of what you're talking about. Maybe not the shadow and light thing, but it's Czanne.
CZ? Oh, I see it. It's like the first thing that comes up.
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff I dig. Yeah, Cezanne.
Yeah,
absolutely. Oh, this fruit. I like. Yeah, this fruit thing right here. This is what I'm talking about. Chiaroscuro.
Yeah. I kind of
screen share it real quick. Oh yeah, and then I immediately fucking switch it. this dark contrast to this fruit. Like I know this is a weird sort of painting. I don't know if this is necessarily Cezanne specifically.
Right. Did you screen share? Because nothing. I didn't see anything.
Did I not screen share? I thought I screen shared.
I didn't see it. If you did, I didn't.
Oh, whoops! I forgot to press the share button.
There you go.
I did everything but press the final button to make a screen.
I'm like, well, I was still on the other page, so I thought maybe I missed it, but then you were still talking about it.
But yeah, this sort of shadowy, darker shadow compared to this lighter stuff in the background, and but this impressionist style and these defined fruits with the shadows and the play of light across it.
Yeah, that takes fucking skill, man. That takes imagination and skill. To do that, you know.
It draws the eye, it draws you in. It kind of makes you feel something about like the day that this was, like, you know, like it just, there's something there. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. And again, I really searched that Titian too, Titian. There's something to be said for that too. Like I fucking am amazed at how realistic some of these things can get. But I kind of prefer, again, the impressionist shit. Like, again,
and he just, you know, a lot of this stuff was just this I like too. I like this sort of landscape style impressionists because it kind of lets you fill in some of the blanks with your imagination.
Right.
You know?
Right. But yeah, like I said, and what's his name? Cezanne definitely had a lot of them that he used some pretty wacky colors. But yeah,
see, you can almost smell the fucking like roast beef and fucking fall, like the apple cider. Like you can taste the fall and feel that sort of fall feeling about this.
Yeah,
even though it's just a landscape with like a fucking house and some fucking houses in the background.
Right. Yeah, you definitely know that was a real place. Well, maybe not that one, but yeah.
I wouldn't mind if this is a real place. Just a bunch of naked people hanging out together. I'm down.
Yeah, they seem liberated.
No, I think this might be Picasso, not Cezanne.
Picasso / Cezanne. Yeah, it looks like a dual exhibit. Yeah, Picasso. I mean, Picasso's all right, dude, but yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah. This is for sure. I like this. Yeah.
Yeah,
that is nice. But yeah, I could do this all day.
Right.
One of the things I would love to have if I owned like a big house or even just a house is some nice artwork. Although my absolute favorite stuff is like impression landscapes of like coastal areas. That's just my favorite right there. I absolutely love that stuff.
Yeah, especially if there's dude. I don't know why, but a fucking coastal shot with like a sailboat in it somewhere.
Yeah, or like a lighthouse. I like those.
Yeah, lighthouses are fucking great too. Yeah. And again, like I said, the impressionist stuff like Cezanne or I don't know, does Van Gogh count as impressionist? He does, right?
Yeah, I would say Van Gogh is an impressionist. Okay. Let me look up his stuff again, but I'm sure.
Yeah, in fact, I think he was like one of the first, actually, now that I think, or was it Cezanne? I think Cezanne was one of the first. Because, I think in his lifetime, he wasn't that appreciated.
Van Gogh was absolutely impressionist. That's what I thought, like Starry Night and stuff like that. Total impressionist.
Yeah. But dude, I also again the old masterpieces where it actually almost looks like a photo. That shit's fucking amazing. It's not really my favorite. I just I really appreciate the fact that they could do that. Like I find it fucking fascinating that they're that talented, that they're that fucking precise that they can make a fucking painting look almost photorealistic.
Yeah, Claude Monet is considered the father of impressionism.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. All right.
Let's see here. I'll share this, and you'll be like, "Oh yeah,
yeah."
That's Monet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, even his is. Yeah, it's almost a little too realistic still. Yeah. See, that's still pretty realistic, dude. Yeah, that one's nice.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, that's getting more into it. So I was going to say the first few.
This one is probably one of, I think, his most well-known.
Yeah,
a lot of people have seen this.
Yeah, I wonder if the other ones are early works before he kind of developed his real style. It's fucking great. They're all great.
Well, and a lot of painters painted in multiple styles. They didn't necessarily always paint in impressionist styles. If they're impressionists, that's probably just what we know best because that's what people prefer.
Yeah, those are the ones that sell for hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, exactly. That's what people are looking for. Yeah.
It always amazes me how much fucking artwork goes for, dude.
It's like, but only if the person's dead, man. That's the real thing. Like there's a few artists who've made money while they were alive, but they're few and far between.
Yeah. Andy Warhol, and that's about it.
Well, I think,
although, his was a little different.
Well, I was going to say, like the Italian Renaissance painters, a lot of them had patrons, so that they didn't necessarily, they weren't wealthy on their own accord, but they had more than enough of everything they needed to be considered essentially upper class.
Yeah,
they were well kept, so to speak.
They would usually live. Yeah, they would usually live with some duke or whatever, some royal.
Yeah, whoever they were working for at the time would basically like provide all their needs for them.
Yeah.
So, I think as far as
that's good. You forget about Da Vinci as the artist.
Turtles. No, I'm just kidding. Essentially, the Turtles: Leonardo da Vinci, Raphael, Donatello, and Michelangelo.
Right.
The 4 Ninja Turtles is what I think comes to mind most. There's a lot.
I'm not as familiar with the. I'm not as familiar with Donatello stuff, whoever that was. But
you know what? The other ones would definitely see if I can't find like the actual paintings and not just fucking pictures of the Ninja Turtle. I believe he was more a
oh shit! Was he a one-word name guy? I was thinking like I just didn't know their last name. Was he more of a sculptor?
He did most sculptures. Yeah, that's what I was trying to. I just kept not saying the word.
No, I searched it.
He was a sculptor, not really a painter.
Yeah.
So you've probably seen Donatello's work, but you wouldn't necessarily know it offhand.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I got that
because
one.
he did more like this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah. See, that's fucking amazing to me too. Especially marble. Like what any kind of metal, like you can kind of probably melt it and reform it or whatever. But when you're working in like marble,
But see, he also did
he did painting.
This says it's most important photograph by Everett. I don't know that anybody photographed Donatello. I don't think that doesn't make sense to me. I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, that's weird.
There's more well known.
Yeah,
like this kind of stuff, I can definitely appreciate the sculptures and the paintings, and I'm a big fan of like a lot of the religious art. Not because I'm religious, but because I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, it's
some of the crazy huge things they made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fucking amazing to me.
I don't think he's come back.
Right. Oh man. Yeah. Anyways, what the fuck were we talking about?
Oh, where did we? I don't know where we went. Fuck it. Mr. Matoker and Andy Worski and Tonkasoff for the garbage that they are.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we covered that. I love our fucking You ever go back and watch one of these and fucking figure out how we end up where we end up? Like it makes sense.
No,
I shouldn't say it makes sense, but there's always something connecting it. Occasionally, something will come out of the blue. One of us, usually me, will throw something in out of the blue. But usually there's like a progression of how we end up where the fuck we end up. It's connected this to this to this to this. Yeah, our stream of consciousness streams.
So I think this is something we were talking about. We hit on a little bit last time with Mad Metal Man. But I kind of wonder if a lot of the lacking of art is also sort of tied into the failing of community. You know what I mean? Like, if there's no strong community, then you get these. Well, they're just the loudest and most obnoxious, so everybody here listens to them more, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so you get these ridiculous things that people want to pretend are art because there's no community to be like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Right. Like you're not even fucking trying.
Like, shit in a lunchbox. You need to go. You need to leave. You're not welcome.
Like, not only should you not be venerated for what you're doing, but you should probably be institutionalized.
Or at least shamed out of the building so that we don't have to see what you're doing. Like, I mean, unless they're actively, dangerous to society in some way, shape, or form. Right. I'm not a fan of institutionalization. Like, I do talk about how easy it is for people who are dangerous to get out of institutions, but I'm not an advocate for people who are genuinely not dangerous to be like kept as well.
Right.
I just don't think we should give them some sort of like
endowment.
Not endowment, just sort of like fucking reverence.
Right.
Like they're not. So one of the greatest. Oh, it wasn't a quote, but no, it was a quote. I forget who it was. I believe it was Heinlein, who said somehow. Modern celebrities, actors, singers, and songwriters and stuff have managed to convince us that they are people of importance, which is untrue.
Nice.
And it's like, well, I don't know if he said it was untrue, but they've somehow managed to trick everyone into thinking that they're important. And the reality is they're not. I mean, that's not who we should be venerating. That's not who we should be following the advice of. Like,
Joe Rogan's for sure.
Cool. He's a really nice guy, but he smokes a lot of fucking weed and he's not terribly bright in a lot of respects. Like, he talks about a lot of shit that he really doesn't understand.
Yeah, I don't know. He's good on some shit, but yeah, I get what you're saying, dude.
Well, the one benefit from Joe Rogan is that he doesn't claim to be like somebody that everybody should like, follow the example of.
Yeah, he's not looking to cultivate a cult.
So he's always open to hearing a new idea or something that conflicts with something he may have already thought.
Yeah, he's very open-minded.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost to a fault in some cases, but yeah. But yeah, no, I think he gets it. He doesn't want to be fucking worshipped the way a lot of these fuckers want to be worshipped. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, that's a sickness. Meryl Streep is probably the fucking worst example of self-importance run fucking amok, dude. Like, dude, nobody you haven't lived in the real world for a very, very, very long time. You know, that's my issue with these people, actors, comedians, athletes, really any kind of performers. They don't really live in the fucking real world, man. Their fucking existence and their experience is seriously skewed compared to the average person. You know, and I think that fucks with them. Even comedians, even if you're a failed comedian, even if you're just a fucking run of the mill one, you know, if you can sleep till fucking 4 in the afternoon and just lazily wake up and fucking stumble on stage and make a living, that's not really gonna fucking put you in the mindset of the average person who has to go to work fucking 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, or whatever. You know.
Oh yeah, I found the actual quote here. Let me share the screen and then read the quote because this is brilliant. There seems to have been an actual decline in rational thinking. The United States had become a place where entertainers and professional athletes were mistaken for people of importance. They were idolized and treated as leaders. Their opinions were sought on everything, and they took themselves just as seriously. After all, if an athlete is paid $1 million or more a year, he knows he is important. So his opinions of foreign affairs and domestic policies must be important too. Even though he proves himself to be ignorant and subliterate every time he opens his mouth.
That's fucking vicious, dude. Like, that's the fucking the most nicely worded, vicious fucking statement I think I've ever heard.
Yeah, and then another one further down that I thought was extremely well put. Take sides. Always take sides. You will sometimes be wrong. But the man who refuses to take sides must always be wrong.
That's pretty good.
It's not as good as the other one, but I felt it was just as prevalent now.
Shit, Dade's in the chat. I just noticed Dade's in the chat.
There you go, Dade. Hey, if you want in, Dade, by all means, let me know. I'll tweet you a link or I'll put it in the chat or something. I think that's it's funny like how relevant that is now, and Heinlein's been dead for years.
Right.
But it's like, we treat these people who really have no expertise whatsoever in what they're talking about as though they're some sort of important fucking font of useful information. It's like fucking Jennifer Lawrence is going to save democracy. What the fuck is she talking about?
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, I like her as an actress. I don't want to hear her opinions because, well, especially after having heard some of them. Yeah, I don't want to hear them. Yeah.
No, I think. Oh God, I can't remember his name. The psychologist. Who's got all the self-help books and he wants to charge you for a test.
Oh, Jordan Peterson.
I think that guy is incredibly obtuse and dishonest and like a little bit of a scam artist to boot. But he has an actual education. If he wants to talk about psychology, I might not agree with him, but I will definitely give him a lot more respect.
Yeah.
A lot more respect, and I will lend a lot more weight to what he says than I would to Tom Cruise who's saying like medications are all evil.
Right.
I mean? Because it's Tom Cruise is just a fucking actor.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't share your negative opinion on Peterson. Although, again, I find it fascinating that guy is so hung up on religion, dude.
Yeah, he is a little weird about religion, but
yeah,
I just think he's a scammer. I think he's not.
I don't know, man.
He saw like an opportunity and seized it. I don't necessarily
I would say
opportunist.
Yeah, scammer's a little harsh. I think opportunist is a little. Although I don't know if that just
I can settle for opportunist.
Yeah. I don't think he's set out to do any of the shit. I think he's just cashing in on an opportunity. But I think he's I think he's a little more genuine than I think you're giving him credit for. But I get what you're saying, dude. Or I can see your point of view.
I think he's wrong more often than he's right.
Yeah, I think he seems so fucking reasonable on some shit, and then other shit you're like, that's just fucking weird. Like, I'm surprised this is the same person. Yeah, it's weird.
But like I said, I will not dismiss anything he says out of hand.
Right.
I will lend it the credence that I know he's a well-educated man who has a lot of experience that's extremely valuable that I don't. Who has something
infinite.
To offer.
You know what I find? You know what I find really fascinating about him is he seems to have infinite patience for fucking idiots, dude.
I do admire that.
Yeah, dude. Like the first thing I saw of him was it was pretty similar to what he dealt with Kathy Newman, where he was talking to these fucking college kids, and they were just spouting their fucking brainwashed nonsense at him, and he was still trying to fucking interact with them and have a conversation. And eventually, like 10 minutes into it, he's like, "Dude, it's almost impossible to talk to you. You're just fucking spouting this fucking." This crap that that's been fed into your head. But he spent 10 to 15 minutes trying to interact with them before he finally got that fed up.
Yeah.
And even then, like, his being fed up is still pretty goddamn polite.
Well, he's Canadian, so there is that.
Something in the water up there.
Yeah. Dade Murphy joining us. So
yeah, welcome.
Glad to have you on board.
Oh, you guys are actually up and about when it's not like near butt fucking midnight.
Yeah. Well,
fair enough.
We also changed our Sunday night schedule, so it's not starting so fucking late.
Yeah, I just got back from the gym and I saw the notification. I'm like, oh, hey, these guys are on. Great. Now I can actually just listen to them talk when I'm not like, it's not 11 o'clock at night Central Time, and it's. And so I come in on the end where you guys are talking about where politicians, or not politicians, where celebrities are having their opinions left, right, and center. And that's when it's just kind of like, I don't give a shit about these actors and actresses. That's one of the things I said on my first vlog. I'm going to spend my money how I want, and that nobody tells me what I can and can't do and how I can and can't spend my money. And more importantly, I tell people, nobody's forcing you to go out and see these movies. Nobody's forcing you to go buy these records or albums or downloads or anything. Nobody's forcing you to do this shit at gunpoint. And so so the morals and the ethics of it is, why do you feel obligated to feel like you have to do something that you don't need to do if you don't need to do it? Why should you feel guilty about not doing something that everybody else is doing? Well, that's always been the question. Hell, I remember in the 1980s growing up with MTV and all this shit, and everybody's like, oh, I got to get cable to watch MTV. And my parents were like, well, if your friends all jumped off a bridge, would you jump too? And I said, I don't know. Do I get a parachute? And they're like, no. And I said, well, then no. And so that's my father. That's my father at, when he was saying this, he was about 36 years old. He was younger than me when he said this. And I'm just like, oh, okay. And I finally figured out, well, if people are going to be retarded, then, do you have to act like one too? And it's kind of like, and so while that's a harsh word to use, because a lot of people are like, don't use that word these days. Well, I'm using it in the proper context, as my English lit teacher would tell me. If you were talking about a time period into which people use a specific term regularly, then yes, it's appropriate and people can't whine about it. And so like, oh, okay. And so it's, Jennifer Lawrence, you have a nice ass, sweetie, but I don't care about what comes out of your mouth. Right. I'm going to be vicious about it because she is too young and still too inexperienced in life to understand what it means to actually speak for anybody about anything. And I think that the problem with the older people in Hollywood is their time is coming to an end and they are irrelevant.
Yeah, but they still want that attention and that gratification.
And I don't give a shit. And I don't give a shit. They don't get it from me. In fact, apparently the last time I went and saw a movie was Wonder Woman with my daughter before she went in the Air Force. And that was it. And then the last time I went to see a movie before that was like 7 years before that. And it's kind of like, I'll buy what I'm going to buy, but I don't go out and see movies because this gives the movie studios the capability to keep hiring these idiots that are saying this shit. So I deny them power. And like I said, Jennifer Lawrence, sweetie, you've got a nice body and face and a nice ass, but I don't care what your political opinions are. You can't save anything because you have yet to be able to save yourself and understand that you've forgotten what it means to come from a humble background like a lot of us are going to be stuck in for the rest of our natural lives unless gold becomes prevalently available and therefore useless and everybody is economically equal, which ain't ever going to fucking happen.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, and that's, again, that was kind of my point, is these people don't live everyday existences. They don't live the way most people do. They're not going to have a perspective that's going to fit. You know, like I said, I use the comedian example of, dude, if you can sleep till 4 PM and get up whenever and fucking still go to work and make a living, that's not going to fucking translate to you understanding the average person. You know?
Yeah, actually, that's one thing they've talked about numerous times on Joe Rogan's channel when they're doing critiques about just specifically comedy. And
I got
a lot of people just lose touch.
Sure. Yeah.
That a lot of people just lose touch with what it's like to be the people in the audience.
Right.
Comedy suffers as a result, and they're all making jokes about like hotel rooms and airplanes. And they're skilled in making a joke, so they can still make it somewhat relatable, but they're really missing the element that makes a great comedian great.
Right. Yeah, and still being able to relate to the everyday shit. Because, we've all been on planes, we've all been in hotels, but it's nowhere near a big part of a vast majority of our existence. The vast majority of us are only going to fly in a plane, a handful of times in your life.
Yeah.
You know?
Or I just watched one of Kinnison's specials, the Vegas special that Kinnison did. And all his jokes are stuff that really is something people can relate to. It's not about anything lofty or entertainment oriented. It's about, the president fucking sucks. He's screwing us all over. And, wasn't that funny when fucking Mondale lost? That guy must be fucking miserable right now. Your girlfriend fucking cheated on you. Isn't that the worst fucking feeling ever? Kind of stuff. Like stuff that you really, anybody can relate to. It's still hilarious.
Yeah. Or Bill Hicks was pretty good about it.
Yeah.
His shit's still funny if you listen to it today. Although he's
But then there's Mitch Hedberg. I mean, his stuff was relatable, and it was absurdish. So but it was great fucking humor. That guy.
I fucking love that guy.
The thing about Mitch Hedberg was he was immensely shy, and yet he still got up there and did his thing, and he really could. I'm sorry, I'm eating some after the post-workout snack here. He really could relate to the average person. In fact, one of the things I love is just his dry sense of humor. And I will look at things and I'll say, oh my God, Mitch Hedberg talked about this. Like one of my favorite things is when I go to the gym and I see the vending machine there that has all the bottles of water, which I think is fucking absurd in the first place. Bring your own shit. You have a gym bag, you're allowed to do it. And he says, he talks about wanting to buy a vending machine and then putting in tiny little the bite-sized snacks and then just trading the glass out with magnifying glass so that by the time you've bought it, you're angry, but it's too late. And I said that at the gym once. I said, man, you know what I do? And I was trying to talk like Mitch Hedberg, and I can't do it. I was like, man, you know what I'd like to do when I win the lottery? They're like, what? And I said, I want to replace all the vending machines. They're like, yeah. And I'm like, and then I want to make sure that we have small items in there with magnifying glass fronts so that when you buy the product, it's bite-sized and you'll be angry, but it'll be too damn late. And they just thought that was fucking great. And of course, I can't do Mitch Hedberg's voice, but it's one of those things he just talked about very everyday practical stuff. And and unfortunately, he never became as big as he deserved, but that's also a blessing because I think it would have blown up in his face sooner or later. It's just really one of those things that, can we trade all these fucking idiots in Hollywood for Mitch Hedberg back for a week and we'd all be happy?
Yeah, well, again, he kind of, everything blew up in his face anyway, like he died of a fucking drug overdose. Yeah, same with him and Geraldo have a lot of their humor may have been a lot different. They're both fucking hilarious in my opinion, but they both have the same similar demons, dude, that ended up consuming them.
I think that was I don't know if that was necessarily the same sort of thing that happens to a lot of celebrities, though. So I think instead of craving the fame and getting involved in these echo chambers and getting lost in that sort of like you're the best ever kind of mentality, they had the opposite. Like they really wanted to do what they did. They loved what they did and they were really good at it.
Yeah, but they were fucking. They loved stand up
aspect of it as much as a lot of the other people do. And then I think their drug addictions generally were to deal with that sort of part of it. Like same with Andy Kaufman. I think he loved what he did, but dealing with the celebrity aspect of it is what drove them, I think, to do those. Yeah,
especially Hedberg. I think Geraldo wanted to be famous. I think Hedberg probably wanted to make a lot of money, but I don't know that fame entered into it at all. I think Geraldo did want to be famous a little bit.
Well, I'm sure they wanted to be famous. I'm just talking about dealing with the reality of being famous.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think at Hedberg's ideal world, he would be really rich and unknown. You know what I mean? Like
another problem is, and I've had this happen to me, and I've actually taken the opposite effect of it. Like one time I got like $3,000 back in my taxes, and like, I've got $3,000. I can do anything within a $3,000 range, and I'm sitting there like, fuck it, and I put it in my bank. It's like, what am I going to do with this shit? That becomes the problem of. They say the people go and make these movies that are fucking terrible, getting paid multi-millions of dollars for shit movies that people are stupid enough to watch. And because they can really do it, they have the ego of like, oh, I've got all this money, so I can hire all these guards to protect me in case somebody goes nuts, and I can live in this type of house and blah, 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 blah. And it doesn't matter how well they manage the money. They become egotistical assholes because they're living in a way that a large percentage of us will never see. And they know they are, and they can do it, and they can act like shitheads. And there's always going to be some asshole out there who wants to suck them off.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, money gives you a certain level of insulation from a lot of the stuff that everybody has to deal with.
And then, like in The Dark Knight, where Alfred says, Bruce says, you know, he talks about being in Burma, which Burma is no longer called Burma, by the way.
Yeah.
And he talks about having to deal with this guy who stole all these jewels and shit and from the mining company. And then they find this kid playing with this, you know, this grapefruit-sized ruby, which if I had one of those, I'd fucking retire. And the guy did it just to do it. He just wanted to see the world burn. Well, celebrities insulate themselves so often they fail to realize no matter how much there are people in this world, dangerous people, you can't buy them off. You can't sucker punch them. I mean, you know, let's just put it this way. I am the type of person that if Jennifer Lawrence came to my house, took off all her clothes and told me to knock her up, I'd say, bitch, get back in your car and leave. For two reasons. One, that's unrealistic and ain't ever going to happen. Two, why would I want to do that? What possessed you enough to drive your ass all the way to Iowa thinking I would, you know, I like you in that manner. I like you in movies and I think you're great eye candy, but this is fucking overkill. And so they get unrealistic expectations that they don't realize that what they do, there are people out there who will say no and will become agitative and aggressive and really literally go over the top to defend themselves saying, hey, you need to fuck off because you need to realize there are people out there in the world. We don't give a shit about you. Should, you know, your money don't mean shit to us. And if you piss with us, we will destroy you. And we'll get away with it too.
Yeah. Well, again, it's the money thing is part of it too, like Stabby was saying earlier, but I think it's it's the fame, it's the adoration that fucks with them more than anything.
Well, one leads there. It's a continual circle. You get the other, and then you crave more of one thing, and then you crave more of the other. It's a vicious circle that never perpetuates, or that continually perpetuates and never has an end until either something happens or you're dead.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like I said, I think Meryl Streep's the best example of somebody that's just fucking bonkers, dude, and does not realize that how fucking out of touch she is, dude. Because she's been out of touch for so fucking long.
Well, if we're out of touch, we all get committed to insane asylums or we go to jail because, well, society says that's not realistic. And I'm like, well, fuck you. And it's all about what's in your pocketbook.
Yeah. Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you're gonna be crazy, you better be rich.
Yeah, I think there's a difference in some people and how they handle money. Because, like, you know, if I win the lottery, there's a lot of people I think that win the lottery and they just immediately go out and buy cars and boats and just fucking nonsense, gold-plated toilets, shit like that.
Right.
Whereas I would think, like,
I gotta take this. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah, go for it. Whereas there's people like me who are like, I would invest in real estate. I would buy some property out in the fucking middle of nowhere where no one's going to bother me and invite my friends, you know, like, because what the money doesn't fucking matter. It's what you can use the money to accomplish that matters.
Yeah, no, I would splurge even nowadays. Not as much. I'm trying to think of what I would do at different points in my life. If I was younger and I won the lottery, absolutely, I would fucking just waste that shit and I'd be broke in a fucking year. Now I would splurge a little bit, but no, I would definitely make sure that I bought a fucking house. Again, somewhere secluded, kind of like you were alluding to.
Yeah. Well, I built a compound, man.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah, you know, like someplace out in nature, dude, where it's kind of close to civilization.
In the woods, buy my own fucking valley in a mountain or something.
Yeah, somewhere where I don't see any neighbors. No matter where I look, I don't see any fucking neighbors. Yeah.
If I got to drive 10 minutes to my nearest neighbor, that's still a little closer than I'd really like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's better than nothing, but yeah, I would prefer.
I'd still be happy. I'm just saying, I'd if I really had my druthers, it'd be like an hour to the closest neighbor.
Yeah, I would prefer to have it be anywhere I look, literally horizon to horizon to horizon. I wouldn't be able to find a fucking neighbor's property. Yeah. That would be fucking ideal.
But then I'd invite, you know, like my friends to come and fucking join me in my compound.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
You know, that would be awesome. And then, you know, grow your own fucking food, raise your own fucking animals.
Yeah, get a little
work every day, but ultimately more rewarding, I think, than a lot of the stuff people do on a regular basis right now to earn money.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those things that I laugh my ass off with the Publishers Clearinghouse is that you win and you get $5,000 a week for life, and it's kind of like, yeah, this is why you give it to the old people you think are going to be dead within 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be at all surprised to find out like that has never been truly random.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah, I wouldn't be at all surprised to find out.
Because why would they ever give it to anybody in their 30s or early 40s like me, who it's like, oh, you get $5,000 a week for life. And it's like, all right, bitches, I'm going to live for another 40 years. You know that, right? And with $5,000 a week, I can just fucking let it sit there and do nothing until the first like 4 months have gone by, and then I can go out and do whatever I want, and I'm still getting $5,000, and all I've got to do every year is pay tax on it, and then I'm done. And you're still paying me for the next 40 years based on the presumption that you are going to be in existence as a company for the next 40 years. Bullshit. If you're going to give me, when you win the lottery, this is what I tell people. If you win the lottery, take it all in one lump sum, let the government take their half, and then stash it away in a trust, and you can tell the state and everybody else to go fuck off for the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it works. Don't just blow it out. Just don't spend it, and don't ever take payments. Take one lump sum, even if the lowest amount you're ever is like, oh, I've only got $1.5 million left after everything. I said, bitch, in Iowa, with $1.5 million, depending on who you are, you can live off that shit for a good 25 years. That's easy.
Oh, yeah, comfortably. 1.5 million, you could.
And you can fucking start, and you know, you can even start your own business and shit.
Yeah, if you're reasonable, you could live off just the interest.
Yeah, and you could perpetually make your own money just because even if you got $1.5 million and you spend $50,000 of that starting your own business with supplies and everything.
Just in a savings account, savings account, I think you could make enough that if you were frugal, you could live off that.
Well, I was told you put it in, if you put it in a family trust, it's basically tax-free.
Yeah. Oh, no, there's other ways that are better. I'm just saying, like, the dumbest possible choice of all the ways to make money off of money would be just to put it in a savings account.
Yeah.
And I think even that works. Buy off the interest, you know, like, so if you're even halfway intelligent, you put it in some real estate, you know, buy some rental properties, start a business of some kind, put it in some sort of guaranteed return investment. There's a ton of ways you could make that into a lot more money.
Hey guys, I'm going to step away since Dade's here, I'm going to step away for a few minutes, okay? I got something.
Okay, go for it, man.
All right, later.
But that's the real difference, I think, between a lot of celebrities and regular people. I think celebrities are the people that will definitely just throw away anything you give them, like most of the time.
Well, what surprises me is that a lot of celebrities these days, they're starting out as child actors, and they have zero acting capability, and it's all because of how they look. And it's like, you're not special.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's astonishing. You get somebody like Kevin Pollak, who is not the most handsome dude on the planet, but can play virtually any role. And in a lot of cases, people don't even remember that it was him in the movie.
You mean Kevin Spacey?
No, Kevin Pollak.
Oh, Kevin Pollak. Yeah. I haven't heard that name in ages.
He has his own podcast that he does right now. That's actually quite a bit of fun. The Kevin Pollak Chat Show, I believe.
Okay.
Worth a look. But, he's been in so many movies and so many roles, and a lot of people don't even recognize that he's been in multiple movies that they've watched and enjoyed the characters. He's such a good character actor. But he's definitely not like, they're not going to put him in as the lead to anything because he doesn't have that movie star face.
You want to talk about somebody who doesn't have a movie star face that I always see popping up in different places is let me go check up his name real quick. I'm going to put myself on mute. Okay, I know what he looks like. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, there's a few people who have really distinctive looks that fit that particular mold, and most of them end up being extremely entertaining character actors.
Yeah, Sean Whalen.
Sean Whalen.
You look at that guy. There's no way in hell you miss who he is.
SEAN or SHAWN?
SEAN.
Sean.
And you look at him, it's like, oh, I know that dude.
Okay, I see. Whalen. Let's see.
WHALEN is his last name.
Oh, WHALEN?
Yeah. And he is one of the doofiest looking
fuckers I've seen him in a ton of stuff.
But he's good.
Yeah, he is. He's definitely
very good character actor. And if anybody says, oh, hey, you want to watch this movie? And I may think, fuck the movie, but I find out he's in it, even in a small role, I'll watch it. Not because he's star-studded, but he's a chameleon. That motherfucker's a chameleon. And you know what the best part is? I've never run across him mouthing off on Twitter.
Yeah, no, you never will. You know Walton Goggins?
Never heard of the guy.
Okay, he's relatively newly become like very popular, but he is one of the people that just chews up scenery.
Okay, I know who he is. If I see his face, I know him.
Yeah, well, that's I think the sign of a good character actor. In general, is if you don't recognize their name until you see the face, and you're like, oh yeah, that guy who's been in all these movies and shows that I've watched.
Yeah. It's usually the people that. Sorry, it's usually the people that have the fucking goofiest looking faces on the planet. And I'm looking through Walton Goggins' Twitter. I'm looking through his movie thing here on Wikipedia. God damn, I'm tired. And I've seen all these movies so far, and I was like, I didn't know he was in that, and I didn't know he's in that, and I didn't know he's in that, and I didn't know he's in that. And then I get down to G.I. Joe Retaliation. I said, oh, I know exactly who he is. He's the guy that says, welcome to, basically, that when Storm Shadow goes to prison to bust out Cobra Commander, he's that guy who ends up dying there, and he says, we just now crossed the international zone and blah, 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 and it's actually this hot down here, but these, cooling units make it 68 degrees and makes you want to have a Snuggie and all that. He's one of those guys. He's just like Sean Whalen. He's a comedian or a chameleon.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
there's also people who are very distinctive, I think, I'll put up some pictures of this guy. Steve Buscemi.
Yeah,
like, this guy's played a lot of fun roles, but he's very distinctive. So like everybody probably recognizes him.
His face.
Yeah. But he's one of those fun guys that's been in a lot of movies too. I think that I don't know if he would count as a character actor though.
Well, I can honestly say I think he is. If you watch The Big Lebowski, Escape from L.A., Fargo, and Con Air back to back, he's in all those movies, and some of them are a major role, some of them are not, but he plays very different characters, and it's fucking scary.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Because in Escape from L.A., he plays like a con artist. In Fargo, I believe he's a killer, or he's one of the two main bad guys.
Okay.
But then you get to Con Air, and he's Garland Green, and he is like a psychopathic killer, and he doesn't say barely a damn thing. And he always comes off as like the guy that's going to sit next to you and you're going to have a decent lunch with and just like have a bullshit conversation, and it's all good. And that's fucking scary. And that's Steve Buscemi. And then, of course, you get You're Out of Your League, Johnny, from fucking The Big Lebowski. And he's kind of like very timid and nerdy and wants to be part of the crowd kind of guy. So, and then you get him as Mr. Pink, and he goes, "Why the fuck am I Mr. Pink?" And then that's his character being a cocky shithead, but who's also a professional. So Steve Buscemi is a good actor, and he's A-list, but he's better than a lot out there because he actually tries to do something different every time.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I don't know if you watch any of the Netflix is suddenly getting stuff from a lot of other areas. Like you get Russian shows and like British shows. I don't watch a lot of TV Asian shows. Well, I don't watch a ton of it, but it's interesting when you watch a lot of these shows from other countries. The actors aren't necessarily very good looking. In a lot of cases, they just look kind of average, but they're all exceptional acting. Like they play believable characters as opposed to a lot of the American kind of shows that are similar, where it's like, oh, but it's just that look that they wanted, but the guy doesn't really, you don't feel it.
Yeah, Ben Foster's another one who is relatively recent, but he's a good-looking dude. But oh, yeah. I'm worried about him becoming the stereotyped as the plays an angry guy all the time.
Yeah, oh yeah, that can happen to a lot of people.
And I think one of the better roles Ben Foster ever had was and people can say X-Men 3 was terrible. I don't care. I think he played the Angel Warren Worthington III just fine. But a lot of the other movies I've ever seen Ben Foster in, he's kind of like an angry dude. It's kind of like, oh, God damn it, Ben, you're so much better than that.
Well, I like all the X-Men comic book movies. I'm a sucker for it. Even when they're terrible movies, in any comic book movie, I'm still really interested in watching.
Yeah, in fact, I was I took a side when it came to this Black Panther stuff because I realized what a bunch of shit that the media blew it out of proportion with, and it was a really don't believe the hype type moment that everybody got suckered into. And basically what it broke down to is, okay, first off, I love that the lamestream legacy media was saying it's this. I'm like, nope, bitch, got that beat by 20-some years. And I got people pissed off at me and say, well, this is the first black superhero movie ever. And I'm like, dude, motherfucker, The Meteor Man, 1993, Robert Townsend. Huh? Yeah. And then they would say, oh, this is a positive black male or black character role model in the sci-fi and fantasy genre. I said, motherfucker, did you not ever grow up with Star Trek? Huh? And I had to point out Nichelle Nichols, who actually inspired a lot of people. In fact, one of the very people she inspired, which was Mae Jemison, was the first black female astronaut. Not that black makes the big difference, but Mae Jemison was one of the first few women in space as an astronaut, and she got that from Nichelle Nichols, who almost left the show if it wasn't for Martin Luther King saying, hey, stay on. This is positive for everybody. Boom. And then they say, well, this, blah, blah, this is like the first, fully black ensemble cast. I said, what part of Tyler Perry do you not understand? And it's just all this shit that I was tearing down and pissing people off. And then they said, this is what would happen if white people weren't running our country. And I said, ugh.
Yeah, dude, I saw that interview. There was some dude. He was he had to be from Africa, but yeah, he literally claimed that Wakanda was what Africa would be like if white people never showed up.
And then
I was like, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah, and I burned that at the stake too, because I said Wakanda is exactly what people think Donald Trump wants to do with America, which is it's surrounded by walls that you can't get in. It's technologically advanced only because of the vibranium, and they sell that vibranium at roughly $20 million per ounce, according to official Marvel sources in their world economy trading in the comic book. So they get all that money from outside sources. They basically only got their shit because they exploited a meteor that happened to luck out and crash land where they were at. And then they're tribalistic, they're separationists, they're isolationists, they're nationalists, they're anti-immigration, they have a wall, and they're pro guns and all this other shit. So it's kind of like, and they're not helping. And here's the biggest part, which pissed people off, and I almost got banned from Twitter for this, and I told Twitter kiss my ass, and apparently they listened. I said Wakanda, the fictional country of Wakanda, is basically what America once was in a certain aspect, with the exception of a wall. And that we did not help out our neighbors to the north or south, which Wakanda basically still says, oh, you guys are all poor over here in Ethiopia and Chad and all this. Yeah, fuck you guys. We don't care. That's what pissed everybody off, because that's what it did. That's what the fictional history of Wakanda did. They never helped anybody out in Africa when they were a leading economic power, and they could have. This is more of a cautionary tale of what has or could happen, depending on how you look at history. And for people to say, oh, this, to go fucking ape shit over this movie, it's kind of like, dude, give me a fucking break. In fact, it's a very stock comic movie. In fact, I think Ant-Man was better.
Yeah, actually, my son said he really didn't like it.
Well, I'm hoping it wasn't because of political reasons. It's just, if it was, I'm sorry, but I plan on buying the Blu-ray DVD, but I'm not going to, go out and fucking give these guys money, because when you go out and buy a Blu-ray DVD, especially a used copy that's in good shape, the percentage of money that goes back towards the movie company is practically non-existent.
Well, and there's always the 7 C's of the internet to sale to
pirate it,
if you really want to. Yeah, just pirate that shit, and then
and I've actually mouthed off to a few celebrities on Facebook and got banned, or not Facebook, but Twitter, and got blocked by them. And I said, I don't need to go out and see your movie. I can go ahead and pirate it, and you're not getting anything out of my pocket. And the ban. I was like I give a shit. So that goes back to the mentality of them having an ego, and then now all this shit on Blu-ray and DVDs is, this helped create blah, 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 blah amount of jobs and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, well, if you shut your fucking pie hole about politics, more people would go see your movie, and you wouldn't have to put this little thing up, and people wouldn't pirate it as much. Idiots.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but really quick, I did tell my son he was racist for not liking the movie.
Are you shitting me?
I was totally joking, dude. I didn't tell him I didn't tell him anything about it. I didn't tell him anything about all the fucking, because he didn't know any of the shit surrounding the fucking movie, all the bullshit. I didn't say anything about it before he watched it. But yeah, I did make that joke. Like, I talked to him about it after the fact. I didn't want to fucking influence, whatever he was going to say about it going into it. But yeah, I fucking joked with him about it. I'm like, yeah, you're racist if you don't like that movie,
I just think that's actually a term that Americans need to get out of, that democratic liberal slave mindset of, you're a racist. Well, technically, and I don't care what the dictionary says, because a dictionary is not always right, whether you like it or not. It's not empirical fact, by the way. There is really no such thing as racism. There's such thing as nationalists, and there's hold on a second. And there's other types of isms, but racism doesn't exist because, and I'm sorry to make people mad about this, but there are only two genders, and we serve a specific function. If you're male and female, you know what you're supposed to do. You have the same internal organs, you have the same respiratory system, you have the same nervous system, you have the same capability for learning, Even if it's at different paces, you still learn. You still learn the basics. You still live, you breathe, you eat, you digest, you poo, and you die. And your skin is your skin color does not define who you are. And if you think it does, you know, that's kind of the fucked up world we live in, and it's sad. But we all have mostly have two sets of eyes, our 10 fingers, 10 toes, run, walk, talk. Doesn't matter what the language is, and we all have red blood. So until some motherfucking Vulcan or Romulan comes down who doesn't look like we do on a certain level and doesn't have the same internal organs and doesn't have red blood, get this shit about you're a racist based on skin tone out of your fucking mind, because Star Trek alone has basically tackled this better than any actual living example of what genuine true racism is. And that's just a fucking science fiction show.
Yeah, and they did it 50 fucking years ago.
Yeah, and Gene Roddenberry was a massive fucking liberal, and he pinpointed it out way better what racism is than modern day anything. So if I'm sitting next to a dude who happens to have, and if you're not, and by the way, you aren't black, you are brown, you are chocolate, you are mocha, you are what the fuck ever, and I'm not white, I'm peach, bitch, because unless I'm a fucking albino, I'm not white, and unless you're a fucking piece of coal, you ain't motherfucking black. And I've seen people from Africa who are dark as coal, and those motherfuckers are black, but you ain't it. Quit your fucking whining. Get over that shit.
It's almost like saying like two different colored horses aren't both horses.
Well, I don't see horses beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah. What I'm saying, like we're all the same race. There's no we're all human race. It's not. Like, I don't know that the African Americans or African.
There ain't no such thing as African Americans either, by the way.
Different kind of human.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they're the same kind of human as I am. We're identical in most respects. There's one tiny little difference, but I don't think that's enough to be a different race.
Superficial bullshit, dude.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It was black folk had the stigma of thinking they're being racially oppressed, and the second that you accept that there's never going to be a such thing as equality is the day you really get red-pilled and wake the fuck up.
Well, yeah, but people are not born equal. That's just not true.
Nope. Yeah, there's no such thing as equality, and people need to stop it. They need to stop striving for a false ideology of what's considered equality. It's never going to fucking happen. But getting back to my point about quote-unquote racism is when they were slaves in southern parts of America, their ancestors were slaves. That's scientific fact. That's actual historical fact as well. Scientific and historical. They were being treated as if they were monkeys. Well, monkeys aren't another race, and monkeys are a different species. It doesn't matter how similar we are. We could be like a fucking jellyfish in water, which is 3 molecules, which is a 3% difference. But black folk back then were being treated like they were being treated as a different species. So they used the word race instead of species to say, well, you're a different race from us and we're superior. It doesn't even fucking work like that. So you can thank all the dipshit Democrats of the South in the days of old for all the fucking racist bullshit we have, the Jim Crow laws and all this other shit, because being a Gen Xer, I'm of the first generation generally say, what's racism? We didn't give a shit. We didn't know anything about it. You know, we grew up watching what we watched, what we liked, and we had neighbors that were Latino or black or Asian, and we all didn't give a shit. And it wasn't until we became adults that older adults and older generations and liberals and intellectual dumbasses who think that they're so goddamn smart tried to force a stigma on us, and we're like, I don't have to deal with this shit, or we did take it up the ass.
Yeah, I remember not caring. I think we're all about roughly the same age. So yeah, I remember not really giving a shit, and race not being a big deal. Well, in my town, the black people were still really fucking like they hated white people, but all the other races, man. Yeah, exactly. But all the rest of us, man, fucking got along, dude, and it didn't fucking matter what fucking race we were. It was fucking bizarre how shit's fucking gone so sideways on us, man.
Well, I mean, I live in California, so it's a whole different world. But I've also grown up in a multiracial family, so like I really don't get the hate. I just don't.
I don't either. In fact,
as a little kid, it's like, well, one of my cousins is black. We have some Mexican people in the family, some Polynesians. Like that's just always been normal to me. So I I just don't see how you judge somebody based on that kind of stuff. So to me, that doesn't make sense.
No, and being here in the Midwest, we have white folk, black folk, Asian folk, and Latino, and most of it. And in my neighborhood, I have that alone. I have black folk, Latino, and white folk, and we don't have nobody bothers anybody. Yeah. The most I ever have to bitch at somebody is don't park in front of my driveway, and then they think I'm fucking around when I tow them because it's basically against the law, and that's it. But we all get together and have a block party, and it's kind of like, oh, we're going to have the block party this year, and we're thinking this person's going to start shit, and this person's going to start shit. And I'm like, no, you guys fucking worry about this shit. Who's bringing what to eat? It's about the food.
Right.
So
deal with that other bullshit if it comes up.
And then the secondary bane to that whole situation is people's religious ideologies. That's the thing that's genuinely threatening America, not so much the weakness of the mind where it's like, oh, you're racist. No, you've got people coming in from another country wanting to kill us. That's not acceptable.
Yeah, and when they're inviting them and then giving them free money. Like, I don't... Like, at what point do I pay taxes so somebody that wants me dead can be, like, living in the lap of fucking luxury? Like, that in my country. Like, why would I ever want that?
Yeah, paying out a shitload of money to people that are not paying in and have never paid into the fucking system. Yeah,
well, I mean, and not even talking about the government assistance programs that most legal immigrants are on, but the refugee thing specifically, where like these people are started out at like $5,000 a month.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's true. I've seen it on Twitter. If they don't, and then and know what that does? That makes them lazy, and that basically supplants their idea of, oh, if I keep voting for this person over here, I'm going to keep getting this. Well, the truth of the matter is they were trying to do this shit, and then when Donald Trump became president, everything's changing. And one of the things that is changing is the EBT SNAP. And I said, hey, look, that's all well and good. That's going to get changed sooner or later, but to replace it with boxes doesn't work because, and I of course listed my reasons on other live streams about this, but we don't have the jobs. If you really genuinely want to get rid of this shit, get the jobs back. Make the jobs where people, no matter what level of so no matter what level of education person has, somebody can work and still make money, and they don't have to depend upon welfare. Or if they are on it, they can be on it partially and then work themselves out of it. That's what generally needs to happen. Not we're taking this away, or we're doing this, or we're giving you food boxes. That doesn't fucking fix anything. So, but that's
although it's funny that people are upset that like they want to give out food boxes instead of just money, and it's like, well, ironically, like food boxes, I don't think it's going to make a difference. But at the same time, that will actually create more jobs. Somebody's got to put those together.
It's going to go through the United States Postal Service, and that ain't going to create as many jobs as you think, and it's going to cost more.
Yeah, it just costs more in taxes. But it is kind of an interesting concept. But like, I don't really care one way or the other, to be honest.
They had it before, and it didn't work, which is why do you think we went to the paper food stamps anyway? And then when they found out people were manipulating it, and they said, why do you think we went to the EBT SNAP cards?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't honestly. I don't give a shit one way or the other because, like you said, it's all about bringing back the jobs. And if they really want to reform the system, they just have to put an end point.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
If you food stamps for 2 years and then you're cut off.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If you really want to fix the economy, first and foremost, all the foreign aid goes bye-bye. That's it.
Oh, I would love to see that.
If we stop that, other countries are crippled.
Well, not only that, but too, by the way,
all they do is take our money and then talk shit. So why should we give them money?
Yeah, exactly. Why do we need to give money to people who want to destroy us? What the fuck? Are you suicidal?
Yeah.
And like I said, the United Nations could go too. We could not fucking support that.
We walk out of the United Nations, it's done.
That's what we should do.
We walk out of the United Nations, which is what we should do. It ends up becoming a Megadeth cover, where jets are flying over it. It's been bombed to shit, and we're done. They had this once, which was they had it. The first thing, I can't remember what it was called, but it was pre the United Nations. They tried this once and it failed, and then they restructured it in the United Nations, and it still fucking failed.
Yeah, it wasn't like League of Nations or some shit like that.
Something like that. I'm gonna go look it up. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I mean, we really don't. They don't serve a purpose, and the only thing that's happened right now with the United Nations is it's basically been taken over by like Islamic terrorist organizations.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
It's just like a bully pulpit.
Yeah, it was
you look at the nations that make up like the Security Council. It's a fucking joke, dude.
Or the Human Rights Council.
Yeah,
it's all fucking terrorists.
See, and that's hypocrisy because they try to have, oh, these are what you're supposed to do for human rights, and then 5 seconds later, these countries over here are violating them left, right, and center. That's not our job to take care of it. Motherfucker, yeah, it is. You're like the ultimate shithead parent, shitbag parent. You're like fucking baby boomers for the most part. You get what you want, then you spit on everybody else. You shit on everybody else. Then you try to take what you can before you die. And then when Gen Xers come along and we've had our kids, you try to tell us how to raise our kids, and then you wonder why the kids become shitheads. That's exactly the United Nations in a simple structure. It's your baby boomers, and you fucked everything up. Thanks, assholes.
So fucking delusional, like weird shit. Like if like, and this is starting off when I was still in school. Like I think it wasn't kicking in as far, but like they started off like if two people got in a fight, both people would get in equal amounts of trouble.
Yep.
Like that doesn't even happen in real life. Like what are you talking about? The police don't arrest both of you. They arrest the person who assaulted the other person.
Yeah, they arrest the person who threw the first punch, depending on the town. In my town, if you get into a barroom brawl and you threw the first punch and the other person retaliates and punches you, your asses are both going in the drunk tank for the night, and you're still going to get a civil fine.
Oh, yeah, but that's different. I'm talking about just like two people fighting. Like some guy goes over and just attacks somebody else. Like in a lot of high school fights, it's just one kid.
This is why we went to the flagpole at 3 o'clock and beat the shit out of each other for 10 minutes, and it was done.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, that's
they don't do that these days because that's inappropriate and that's uncivilized. And I said, I don't know where the fuck planet you came from, but our countries and nations are all built on conflict and war of some type.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's not the best thing on the planet.
Doesn't really change.
Yeah, it's not the best thing on the planet, but that's what we've done.
Human nature is essentially the same now as it was in the Middle Ages. Like we've technologically advanced an extremely high amount. No, technologically, I'm talking, not human nature. Human nature and morality is pretty much the same.
I think technology has made us weaker and stupider.
Oh, I wouldn't disagree necessarily, but it also has made us live longer. So
and there's another problem that we have. People are living longer and draining the limited resources we don't already have.
Well, the limited resources we have in the U.S., we have plenty of resources. The problem is all of our resources are being taken by our government and either used by the elite, or they're being given to third world countries.
And baby boomers are taking what they can get with their grubby, old, chubby hands.
Yeah.
Because baby boomer, here's the reason I rip on baby boomers so much. Not only are my parents not baby boomers, they're from the silent generation. They can't stand baby boomers either. There never was a nursing home before the baby boomers came around. Baby boomers are the fucking idiots that thought up of the nursing home system, the healthcare system, and the credit system, and implemented all these things through Congress and sent it by buying people off.
Your senior citizens should be be there to help educate your kids. I mean, that's the point of having grandma and grandpa around.
It used to be, this is why you let and of course we always had the fun little conflict of letting your mother-in-law or father-in-law move in when they get older, which is always funny shit. Yeah. But it was that you took care of your older family when they got older, because like the way they took care of you when you got younger. Who the hell is talking in the background?
I don't know.
Somebody's got a TV on or something.
My door was a little open. It might have been leaking in. I could barely hear it. This fucking mic, dude. That's amazing. It must have been picking up because
I have really good.
Sorry about that.
But my point is, at least in my family, I live literally 7 blocks away from my parents who were in their mid to late 70s. My sister lives 30 miles away. So when something bad happens, while she's the primary and they do go to the hospital near her, I'm the one that's able to be the first responder and say, we need to do this. And then when they're up there being taken care of by my sister, I'm the one that's able to take care of the house and take care of the family pet and take care of all this business the way it's supposed to be. I don't need my parents to live with me, and my parents don't want to live with me because we will occasionally clash. But it's the idea of your children take care of you when you get older. As a son, that's my job. And when my sister is basically the one making medical decisions because she's older. She's doing her job as a daughter. She's not being a spoiled, pampered bitch. We're taking care of our parents, all of 6 of us kids. So yeah.
I mean that's
the nursing homes. Yeah, it seems to be kind of like an outgrowth of this disposable society. You know what I mean? It's almost like, yeah, we're kind of done with them. Let's fucking discard them to this fucking nursing home.
Well, nursing homes serve when we run out of stuff because people do that shit. People do that shit all the time. If their computer breaks down, I'm just going to go buy a new one. It's like, what are you too fucking lazy to take it take it over to a computer shop and get it done? Well, I want to do something and I want to do it now. So you're willing to go out and spend all this fucking money on a new computer or laptop, waste and fucking piss yourself off and waste your time setting all this shit up when you could have simply waited 2 fucking days, got a new hard drive, and you wouldn't have to do anything but put back in your passwords again. Yeah, you're a fucking idiot. And that becomes what do we do when we run out of stuff? I don't know.
There is, I think, some point to having nursing homes, though. I think in certain situations when you're talking about somebody who's completely like what do you call it? Like
they got nowhere to go.
Alzheimer's or
right.
or dementia or something to the point where they're just incapable.
That is the flip side to that. And so they're not necessarily a bad thing, but they've been implemented and handled so piss poorly that everybody's like, "Oh, you're a certain age, you're fucking going over there." Well, then we try to counterbalance this with assisted living, which my parents are going to go into assisted living sooner or later. I'm going to be okay with that because we've all sat down and I said, hey, you're getting to the point where you're up there in years and I love you guys, but you can't afford to take care of the house. And they're like, yeah, we're thinking about going over to this place over here where your grandma lived for a good 10, 15 years before she died, and we'll retire there. And I said, okay, that sounds great. And they can still have the grandkids visit, the great grandkids visit, the grandkids visit, and they can go out and about and do whatever they want. And then in the meantime, I can say, hey, are you just going to sell your house? Yep. All right, cool. And as much as I love the house, it's kind of like, well, let another family make it their own. Let them have their own memories. And you guys don't have to pay the property taxes, and you guys are doing okay. You're in a good environment. Your kids and your grandkids can come see you, and your great grandbabies can come see you, and everybody's still in communication. And you're getting taken care of, so you can avoid going to a nursing home. That's the best part about assisted living.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you can afford that kind of stuff, like it just depends on the situation,
right?
And I will say, like with my grandmother, she had dementia and a lot of medical needs that there's no way we could have done it.
Yeah.
Even with assisted living in the house, they're just like feeding tubes and stuff that probably we could have done a lot more damage than. Help.
So you've got to be realistic about it, but it's not the fact. But it's like the fact they said people are disposing of people like they're an inconvenience. Well, motherfuckers, that's not how it works.
What I was going to say. Let me finish though, because the first place that she went to, that my grandma was in, was the one she had wanted, but just the whole place felt like a horror show. Like it was this weird, rich community of like retirees essentially, and anybody with any issues was sort of shuffled into these weird back areas that nobody ever got to see.
Yeah.
And so we ended up going with a less expensive option, not because we were cheap, but because they actually took better care of people that actually had the issues, like the medical and the mental health problems.
Right. Yeah. And that's on a side note to that. See, I almost lost my dad about 3 weeks back because of a doctor's incompetency, which, by the way, he's being sued. So, fuck him.
I hope, yeah.
And well, that's what insurance is for. No, motherfucker, you're missing the point. I'm going to make your life miserable. That's what it gets to. But we've always had this thing of like, if one of the parents dies before they both officially retire and move into an assisted living place, they're going to go live with my sister because she has her and her husband, who's a very nice guy. They have the room to let one of the parents live there and not feel trapped, and the parents can go out and do stuff. And we can all drive up there and visit them, and there's no problems. It's the fact that we don't want either one of my parents to sit at home, basically rusting to pieces, so to speak, at a house where there are so many memories that are going to be painful in the long run.
Yeah.
Or
be in a situation where like nobody's going to visit, which is what a lot of nursing care ends up being. is nobody ever goes and actually visits. Maybe because it's uncomfortable. Maybe there's personal issues. But if you have like the kids taking care of the parents, then you don't have that problem.
And my dad's dad, my grandfather, my dad's dad, he lived in a nursing home. He was fine with it. He had short-term. He had basically short-term Alzheimer's. He wouldn't remember what was going on for the first. He knows who you are and everything. You say, "Hey, how you doing?" He's like, "Oh, hey, come on in," and blah blah blah. 5 minutes later, he'll say, "Hey, when did you get here?" And it's like, "Oh, blah blah blah." But 10 minutes or so down the road, he'll remember that you're there and there's no problems. My dad's getting the same way. But he was more happy. He was fine with being in a nursing home because he could just go out and do stuff and watch the Cubbies game. And we visit him once every other week. He was happy, and he didn't have. And so when he did pass away, his mind was about 75% gone, but he knew he was ready to go. There's a difference. And what is that clicking?
Sorry, playing with a knife. I play with knives a lot.
Really, really sensitive ears, man.
I have really good hearing.
Good thing.
I need to get a fidget spinner because they don't make noise.
Yeah, it's from listening to heavy metal since I was 13.
It actually strengthened it somehow.
It strengthened my ears.
Oh,
but no,
man.
you get the overall general point. It's our society is really fucked up in a large manner.
Yeah.
And celebrities and politicians, they don't fucking help, and they need to know their place.
Well, and like you're in an interesting situation where like you actually know your neighbors and you guys have like block parties. That's really uncommon for a lot I areas.
It really is, dude.
That's actually kind of sad. That's actually kind of sad that it's come to this, that I live in an area where we have a block party. Well, I also live in an area where we celebrate Cinco de Mayo, and we're all psyched up for it, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I got Mexican pride." And it's like, motherfucker, you live in America. Okay. You're an American. You were born in America. Well, my heritage is Mexican. I don't give a shit. My heritage is fucking Irish German. You don't see me acting like an asshole. So when Cinco de Mayo comes around, instead of them freaking out and acting all prideful and bullshit, we're like, let's do this. We all come together. It's like, yeah, let's make the best fucking set of nachos ever, and we blow everybody else in town away.
Make it like St. Patrick's Day. Like
basically.
It's just a good excuse for everybody to get out and party and drink.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it comes to. And then when everybody gets drunk, they stumble on home, and nobody ever gets in trouble. And my wife and I, my ex-wife now, when we were doing it, we were like, okay, well, we know whose this is, and we would take care of shit and leave it on the porch, and nobody did anything. And we're still in that set where we can do that kind of stuff. But now that I'm by myself, that my wife and I divorced, it just fucking happens. And my daughter's in the Air Force. I don't have to fucking deal with that shit. So I can be a cranky ass old man who yells at clouds all I want.
Yeah.
See, that's why I want to get a place out in the fucking boonies and build a fucking compound.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have to worry about yelling at anybody. I just invite the people I like, and they can come and hang out, and everybody wins.
Well, like I said, the most I've ever had to do is say, hey man, don't block my driveway. Well, I'll just be here for 2 seconds. It's like, no, you're not. And they will literally move their car back 2 feet. And I said, that's all you had to do. And I've had and oddly enough, it sounds like I'm complaining, which I am. I've had situations where our parking sometimes sucks. And I'll have people come knock on my door. Hey, Dade. I'm like, yeah, what? And they go, my parking spot's taken. Can I park in front of your car? And I'm like, yeah, go ahead. And then the next day, I thought people couldn't park in front of your driveway. And it's like, he asked. And why are you guys parking in front of his driveway or taking his driveway space anyway? Yeah, shut the fuck up. So it's one of those it's a hypocritical situation is what it is, because I say one thing and I unfortunately am forced to do another, but that's how my neighborhood rolls.
No, there's a huge difference between making an assumption and asking, because when you ask, you give the person the opportunity to say, oh no, I've got to leave in like 10 minutes. If you block the driveway, I'll be stuck. So no, you can't. I have to, stuff I have to do. If you just make the assumption, then in 10 minutes, you got to go find out, in your neighborhood, you probably know whose car is whose, but that's not always the case.
Well, usually the people that block my driveway are not from my neighborhood.
Oh yeah. So yeah, then you don't necessarily know where to go find that person to get the car moved.
Yeah. And with my parents being in their mid to late 70s, if something happens like we've had these past 2 years, within the past 2.5 years, they both have heart attacks and they both had follow-up surgeries. And one of them out of the two have relapsed and is now pissing in a bag for a while, but they're fine. But it was more of the fact that you block my driveway, I have to go. If I'm called, there's an emergency, I have to get the fuck out of my house. And if you're blocking my driveway, one of two things is going to happen. I'm going to hit your car, or I'm going to hit your car. I don't give a shit. And your insurance company is going to be pissed off at you more than me. And they have this nice little excuse. I didn't see any signs that said I can't block the driveway. And there's a big fucking red sign printed on my fucking garage door that says, do not block driveway. Violators will be towed.
Even if you don't have to post a sign.
Actually,
I was going to say, even if it didn't.
But it's good. Because then they have no legal recourse. I didn't see nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, who the fuck blocks a drive? Dude, that's such a fucked up thing to do, man. Like, it's indefensible. I find it fascinating that they try to defend themselves, dude.
Well, I had a smart ass get some. I had a good neighbor get some furniture. They bought their furniture from a local company and they had it delivered, and it was all paid for and everything. And this big fucking moving vehicle blocks my driveway, and instead of saying, "Hey, we're going to be, do you care if we park here? We're dropping these items off to your neighbor." I would have said, "Yeah, go ahead, knock yourself out. If anything happens, if I've got to leave, I'll let you know." But they got mouthy. But they got exactly. But they got mouthy with me. So I said, "Okay, smartass, move your truck back 5 feet. Make us okay." Called the police, and the police made him move it back 10 feet. So guess what they had to do? They had to carry all that fucking furniture 10 feet farther. Yeah. And you know what the police said? They said, "Did you guys even bother asking? Because there's a sign right on his garage door that says, 'Do not block driveway. Violators will be towed.'" "Well, we were busy." And the cop's like, "I don't give a shit. $500 ticket on top of it."
Nice.
Ooh,
that's fascinating to me. Like, why wouldn't you just ask, dude? Why don't you just fucking ask?
That's exactly what the neighbor said. The neighbor said, "Well, you didn't." And here was the kicker. The neighbors had told everybody, "Hey, man, we're getting furniture delivered. We're going to need some parking space." And we were all waiting to hear from them to say, "Oh, it's going to be delivered on this day or in this hour." The people that delivered it just fucking showed up out of the blue.
Oh, yeah, that's the worst.
And the neighbors weren't even there. And so they had to wait another day, and they said, "Hey, Dade, what happened?" I said, "Oh, besides the guys that I had ticketed, yeah." "Well, they were here to deliver furniture?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "We weren't even home." And I said, "Yeah, I thought you guys were out of town."
That's so fucking amazing.
Well, that's the only reason the neighborhood I'm in ended up building sort of like a similar community where we all knew each other. Was one of our neighbors had removed a bunch of dirt and put it in a big dumpster out in the front of their house. But I guess they didn't count on how heavy it was. So when the truck came to pick it up, it was so heavy the truck couldn't pick it up. And they were going to end up, because they were out of town for like 3 weeks, they were going to end up paying huge fees on top of it.
Oh, my God.
So my mom, being the really nice person she is, went over and talked to the guy who was picking it up and said, "Hey, what would it cost to just bring one over here? And we'll get the neighbors out. We'll all go and we'll all shovel it over into the, split it into 2 loads.
Right.
And everybody wins." And he was like, I think it was like $150. So she was like, "All right, done."
Yeah.
And we literally ended up with neighbors from 5 or 6 houses all coming down and bringing shovels over. And we all just moved half the dirt over and, saved these people probably, close to $1,000 in fees for like the 3 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, and I bet it really didn't have anything to do with saving your neighbor's money. It was probably because it was an eyesore.
No, in this case, it was just like she was trying to be nice because she's like, "I would hate to go on vacation and then come back and then have like $1,000 fee set up for me."
Yeah, I wouldn't want that either. But it's the difference between being genuine and being a shithead.
Yeah.
And that's,
in her case, it was genuinely to be nice.
Yeah. And in a lot of cases, is people have the attitude and ego, "I can do whatever the fuck I want because freedom." And it's like, dipshit, there's responsibilities. This is why there's for every action, there is an opposite and equal reaction, which is either a positive reinforcement or a negative reinforcement, which we would call consequences.
Yeah.
Not that hard to figure out.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, we had like a neighbor across the street in my neighborhood. Parking is at a premium now. but we had a guy for a while who would mark out spaces with traffic cones.
Which he can't do.
No, exactly, which he can't do. But the part that was most maddening about it was it's the, people pretty much are for the most part, if you're in the neighborhood, the people are respectful of, like, we won't park in front of your house.
Yeah. Everybody knows where everybody lives, and we all know who's got, it's basically it's pre-assigned parking because we know where everybody lives.
Exactly.
And then when you get some newbie in there or some asshole who's living in an apartment or a house temporary, they're the ones who fuck everything up, and then they're the ones that should be scared of all the neighbors.
And if that guy had just asked and said, hey, could you guys not block this spot? Because I think he worked, like, out of town and didn't want to have to, like, spend like 5 hours driving back to fucking, his house to park, like, half a mile down the fucking road.
Yeah. So it basically, it comes down to basically what a broken part of our society, which is, there's always been common courtesy, but the thing is, it's not being used as much, and people have lost the capability of tact. We're all guilty of it in some way. I'm guilty of not using tact, and I really should.
Or just lack of communication, dude.
Yeah, just go over. She just come over and knocked on our door, like the lady that would block him off with parking cones, and said, "Hey, would you mind not, taking this spot?" Be like, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
We'll all leave it open. No big deal. The only problem I ever had was they would do it for like 3 or 4 days at a time, and so it's like, look, when it's the day of, that's an issue. But if you're talking 4 days before he's even going to be there, it's kind of shitty to take that spot with traffic cones for like a week. You can't keep everybody out of it for that long. Yeah, but that was kind of
especially if it's a regular thing, and when they're coming back. Yeah.
Well, and we all know each other's cars. We all know who each other are. All they got to do is come over and knock on the door and be like, hey, could you move your car? I'd really appreciate it. And they'd be like, oh, yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I've had neighbors not only that have been in a tight spot, but they'll say, hey, man, can, like if I leave my house and if my car's not in the garage, I park in front of it. And if I park my car in the garage and I have more than enough for 2 cars to literally park in front of my garage door. If the weather is such, if it snows and shit and nobody's going anywhere for a day, it's like they're going to come by and they're going to plow and they're going to fucking make this huge fucking mess. Just park your car in my driveway. Save yourself some fucking problems. So when they do that shit, you pull right out where you're good to go. Because that's what happens here is they'll do that and then people get stuck.
Yep.
And when it comes to snow, we're kind of assholes here. We don't want to fucking shovel you out. We're doing our own car.
Yeah.
But you get the general idea that it's good for neighbors to know each other, but it's also bad for neighbors to know each other on a certain level because we know what little shitheads we can be.
Yeah. I think
we don't care if the weather's great, but when it's snow, you're on your own, pal.
I was going to say, Sinsoka in the chat has a fairly decent point. I blame so many people saying shit like, don't worry about what other people think.
Well, that's true to an extent.
They can be an asshole. That's what I'm saying. It's a nuanced kind of thing, though. Because it's one thing to say, like, hey, there's going to be haters. Don't fucking let them get to you. But it's another thing to be like, just don't be concerned with what other people are thinking at all. That's, well, maybe you should be, though.
That's sociopathic if you don't care at all. Yeah, the way I kind of break it down, like to my son and shit, is I'm like, just don't let the fucking other people's opinions fuck with you and make you do shit that you know is wrong. You know what I mean? And that's my main concern with it. Like, you can care what other people think, just don't let it rule your fucking life and make you do shit that's against your better judgment.
Yeah, well, the key is you should be concerned about being respectful and courteous of other people.
Yeah.
And that's the I think where the line is there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you're taking the exactly what Sinsoka had mentioned, if you're taking the don't worry what other people think into I can do whatever I want and fuck everybody, fuck with their, how it fucks with them.
Yeah,
that's kind of where we've gone as a country in a way, and that's kind of sad. That's kind of sad of us. Yeah, and it's really sad. We know we're better than this. It doesn't matter what our specific religious beliefs are, unless you're a certain religion. You're not supposed to be here anyway. You know it. regardless of what our nationality originally was, or what our skin tone was, or who our ancestor was. We all have this common thing of we should be really more decent to each other and considerate, because we do catch more with honey than we do vinegar. Mm-hmm. We've unfortunately lost a lot of that, and when people say they're like an idealized vision of the past, well, that's not only a falsehood, but what that means is that people behaved better. It didn't matter if people were not integrated or not because of the Civil Rights Act. People were genuinely better to each other, regardless, because we all had manners that we used, and we exercised tact. And unless you were a real shithead, only then did you do something stupid. But on the average, people were not starting problems. If way back in the 50s and 40s, if a black person came into a white neighborhood, most people still didn't freak out. They were still like, "Oh, hey man, you need something? Yeah, blah blah blah. Oh, hey, it's over here." People were still good to each other. We've lost that these past 75 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it ties back a little bit into what we started talking about at the beginning of the show, is these internet blood sports shows like the Tonka and Andy Warski.
I don't give a shit about any of that.
I'm just saying, but it ties into
a
lot of the things. Yeah. What bothers me about them is that they attack character, they don't attack ideas. There's no courtesy, there's no respect.
Yeah,
it's just get on in and scream at people, and I'm like, well, that's not really solving anything.
Yeah, no, and they do it just for attention.
Mm-hmm.
Because to an extent they have a certain amount of internet fame, which at the end of the day, I don't give a shit. I had some idiot who basically didn't like something I said on Twitter, got pissed off, and says, "You need to get your ass in the Kumite right now." And I said, "Go fuck yourself." They're like, "Excuse me?" I said, "Go fuck yourself." "Well, I'm going to tell everybody that you didn't want to do it." It's like, I don't give a shit. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
Yeah, no, that is a ridiculous thing anyway. It's like, dude, just because I don't want to go on to this fucking program and fucking bitch it out with you, like that makes me a fucking bad person. Or
it's like they're fucking like they're in middle school or some shit. And I said, "You didn't," and they said, "Well, you need to do this." I said, "Motherfucker, what are you 12? So," and I said, "So you're basically in middle school." And they're like, "Yeah, so what?" And I said, "You wouldn't like me when I was in middle school. You didn't even want to know me when I was in high school."
Yeah, so, and that's the thing is they're acting like fucking bullies. It's
and they're like, thing, and you know what I did to bullies? Did you know what I did to bullies in middle school and high school? I beat the shit out of them and I stuffed them in lockers. I was feared. I may have a high-sounding pitched voice, but that's just who I am. But I was fucking feared. And that got me in more trouble than you think. But the few friends that I genuinely garnered because I was good to them, they were scared at me at first. And then when they actually had the balls to come up to me and say, "Oh, hey, Dade, how you doing?" It's like, "Yeah, good." And I'm totally good with them. It's like, "Hey, how you doing?" They're like, "Oh, I thought you were going to be mean to me." And it's like, "Why? What'd you do?" So you act right around me, and I act right around you, and then when you get friends, you act like meatheads, but that's different. But bullies, they only understand one thing: how much you're going to kick their ass, or how much they think you can kick their ass. So this blood sport stuff on the fucking live stream, I don't give a shit. I have no intention of ever dealing with these fucking assholes, because you try to assassinate character, which in the real world outside of the internet is completely fucking different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Well, I liked my response that used to really get to a lot of the people that were harassing me for a little while and saying you should go on and work things out. I'm like, number one, I don't want to work things out. I don't like this person.
Yeah.
I don't need to like this person. I've got friends. I don't need more. I'm good.
Yeah.
And then number two, I have self-respect and I'm an rational adult, and I'm not going to go play kindergarten games on a fucking internet stream.
Yeah, exactly. Plus you don't work, nothing gets worked out there. Nothing would, especially with you, because Tonka fucking hates you.
Nothing would get worked out there because they try to assassinate my character, and I'd make them look like fucking idiots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you could try, but they'd just be shouting over you. So it's kind of
true. Oh yeah, you're right. No, if they just started the shouting thing, I'd just leave.
And see, here's what happened with me is, when Australia said that the people took a vote to allow gay marriage, and I said, "Oh, whoop-de-doo, who cares? America." Here's what I literally tweeted. I said, "Oh, whoop-de-doo, America beat you by how many years and by a lot of church and biblical authority is this not recognized? And people got pissed. They said, well, your daughter's a lesbian. How could you say that? It's like, my daughter agree. This is the only thing my daughter and I don't agree on is gay marriage. She thinks it needs to be, you can go into church and do this and be, you know, have the whole Catholic wedding and shit, in which I say, well, that's not how it works. And I'm the one who says, if you want to just go ahead and have a small ceremony and get it on paper and all this stuff as a domestic partnership, which is basically what it is, whether you like it or not, everybody can still kiss my ass. That's exactly what it still is. Bite me. Because I basically said, I'm not wrong. It doesn't matter what Australia says. It doesn't matter what these people over here say, because the church will never officially recognize it. And it doesn't matter if they do, because it's still against their own doctrines. That's what people got pissed off about. And that's what it said. You need to get your ass in the Kumite and defend this. And I go, I ain't defending shit, bitch.
Yeah. As far as the marriage thing, I never understood why they had an issue with it just being called civil union. It's exactly the same thing.
That's the point.
It's exactly the same thing. Why does it need to be called marriage?
Well, marriage is a religious issue. I mean, that's not really something that should be the government being involved at all.
Okay, can I tell you guys what my daughter said?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay. Here's what my daughter said. This is why my daughter and I just disagree, and that's okay. She's still my kid, and I love her, and I ain't never going to change. We only disagree on this one thing because it's a religious issue. She's not an atheist. She's not an agnostic. She is she's a Protestant, but she feels that God's love is God's love. And I said, that's great and all, sweetie, but technically, according to the Bible, this is how it works. And she goes, yeah. And I said, this is the only reason we're going to have to agree to disagree, because of this. And she goes, yeah. And I said, and when you try to make something that it's not, what happens? She goes, it doesn't work. And I go, exactly. And she's right, and I'm right, and we're two dynamically different people. But she's not a dumbass, and she says, "Well, why don't they just call it a domestic partnership?" And I said, "Well, that's basically what it is." And she goes, "So they only want it to be marriage because they want to usurp religious context." And I said, "Exactly."
That's my concern, that they're going to eventually push for forcing churches to perform the ceremonies, and I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I was like, dude, they can have that. You can still get married. You can still have a ceremony. Like, the churches really should not. Yeah, again, like you said, should not be forced into that.
Yeah.
And again, I remember again, it just didn't make sense to me. Like, legally, it's the exact same fucking thing. It's just not called marriage.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when a church, whether it's of, and I'm going to be fair here, and I'm not going to leave anybody out, because if you really think about it across the board, it's the same on all levels. When the Catholic Church which is not the same as Christianity, by the way, when the Catholic Church, the Jewish Church, when the Islamic faith, when you have the Shinto and other Eastern religions that hold marriage and family really in high regard, basically say, you get all these different variety of religions saying on this one thing, that really should fucking tell you something. That no, it's not okay on a religious level. It doesn't mean that you can't be happy. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to be with somebody that you genuinely care about and live your life out with the pursuit of happiness according to the American train of thought. But for you to say that you have to do this, you have to do that, and you're saying that people have to bend over and kiss your ass, no, you automatically invite resistance. And I'm telling you, religious institutes are a giant fucking social club, and they don't change for anybody. They want you to change for them.
Well, and my thing is, as long as you have the same legal protections and respect for the contract under the law, then I don't really care what you call it.
Yeah, what does it matter?
Well, it goes back to what I said. There's never such thing as genuine equality, and never has been, never will be. And when you try to force change upon somebody or something or an ideal specifically, saying that it has to be equal, that's not how the laws of physics work.
Well, no, I'm not. There's a difference between equality and equal treatment under the law.
Yeah, equity. It's the difference between equality and equity.
Okay,
I was
that's my bad.
I'm not saying people should be equal. I'm saying as long as the law is treating everybody the same way.
Yeah, and in America,
yeah.
no matter what your religious preference is, for the most part, or what your sexual preference is, everybody has the right to hold down a job. Everybody has a right to have food. It's basically Maslow's hierarchy. Everybody has the right to pursue Maslow's hierarchy.
Yeah. Well, actually, as far as I'm aware, the right to have food is not constitutionally protected, to be honest.
No, that's why I brought in Maslow's hierarchy, because that's something that we need. We need to have food. We need to have shelter.
Yeah, well, Maslow's hierarchy is very much accurate. Yeah, you have to have all the things that are required for life before you can worry about any sort of higher order.
Exactly. And what does being gay have to do with you not being able to eat? Absolutely fucking nothing. And if you're gonna deny a person a job to feed themselves or to have a roof over their head because they're gay, then even me as an old school conservative, I'm going to say to you, dude, that's not how it works. Come on, buddy.
Well, and with I know it's a super fucking old issue, but I kind of feel like this gay marriage thing is pushed into like forcing that trying to force that cake bakery to bake a cake for a gay wedding. It's like, why shouldn't somebody be able to say like, no, that's against my religion, I'm not going to participate in that.
They did, and then look what happened to him. Yet Steven Crowder was fucking hilarious about this. He went into all these bakeries owned by Muslims, and they all flat out turned him down. Yeah, I don't see the LGBT going in there. You're going to make me a cake. Yeah, thought so.
Yeah. Well, Idaho just recently banned Sharia law from
oh yeah, I saw
that law against it, and I'm like, thank you, somebody.
Yeah, no shit.
Well,
Sharia law is illegal in America anyway, because it's sedition, and it's to usurp American laws, not specifically traditions, because we all know things change over time. It's the only constant in the known universe. But to have a set of laws that is basically here to fundamentally help everybody be the best that they can be, to have something come in from an outside source and change it, that's basically sedition, and that's against law. And it's like, that's not how it works around here. You don't like it? Fucking take your boats back and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I'm amazed at how they're letting that, like in England and almost everywhere in Europe.
They don't have a
constitution. These sections.
They don't have a United States Constitution. That's the key issue.
Yeah,
but like they're just allowing these whole fucking sections to be run under it. I'm like, that's fucking amazing.
It's the requirement of church and state goes both ways. Like, if you're going to separate church and state, it has to go both ways. The state shouldn't interfere with what you're doing religiously, but your religion shouldn't usurp the laws of the state.
Exactly. And then that's where you run into people, and that's where you run. No, I know in Dearborn, Michigan, they try to do the shit, and they're also meeting resistance from the average Michigan person in Michiganite, basically saying, "Oh, you're gonna come out of your little protective area, and you're gonna break laws here. We don't give a shit." Well, I have a right to do this. No, motherfucker. The second you step out of your little area that you built for yourself, that we allow you to have, you're subject to our laws. We don't give a shit what your little your little bubble laws are over there, and they don't give a shit. And they try to break these rules left, right, and center. I am protected by Sharia law, motherfucker. We don't give a shit. You are basically in the Midwest, where you are surrounded by farmers and hunters, and if you fuck with us, you're a dead man. That's the reality of the Midwest.
Well, and it didn't work. It didn't work for Mormons in Utah, know, and they basically run Utah. They didn't get to have all their little weird, creepy religious shit with like million little kids and having multiple wives.
And for as much as you can argue the basis of Judaism and Islamism and of Catholicism for what you consider religion, we know that Mormons with Joseph Smith, that is bullshit. We know 100%, just like Scientology, it's fake.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have records of him being arrested and prosecuted and jailed for fraud.
Yeah,
for similar scams.
And yet they still are recognized by the United States government as a so-called quote unquote religious organization for tax dodging purposes only, and we know this.
Well, and the other thing is, as long as their religious rules don't try to usurp the laws, they're fine. It's when they go out on the little compounds and try to have 12-year-olds married to 40-year-olds and dudes with like 10 wives that it becomes the issue. That's where the government has to step in and be like, no, this is violating other people's rights. Like, you're taking your right and trying to take away other people's rights with this
That's
claim that somehow your right supersedes their own right.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. It's one of the things where you try to do whatever you want while you're living your while you're pursuing your life of liberty, freedom, and happiness. You're trying to take it from this person over there who doesn't have to like you, and you're trying to step on their toes. That doesn't work. And so, and then they still find ways to sneak around shit. But that's for another live stream.
Yeah, really. That would
or they'll have their own little community, like what is it, Colorado City, I think, in Utah. Like they'll have their little community where everybody just agrees to not fucking say anything about it, and it's fucking going on like the multiple wives shit.
Well, it's one of those things that if and they do this. They have their own social clubs where it's members only. They don't have to make you a member. They are not required to. Mm-hmm. And that's just the way it is. But yet I don't hear black people knocking down their door, because if you really think about it, if there is a form of racism, they really are more racist towards black people than your average white Protestant or Catholic is.
Yeah, well, they used to. Their former beliefs would be that out.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was just saying the Mormons, the fucking their previous beliefs that they swear that they've given up would pretty much bear out that they're incredibly racist. Mm-hmm. That black people are just fucking essentially demons or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any dark skin essentially means they're part demon or something.
No, it's the more sin you have, the darker your skin.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha. I gotcha.
It literally darkens your skin with the sin of God or something. It's his judgment or some bullshit.
Yeah. And the only people that I've ever dealt with that are genuinely and they're racist too in a way, but they're not really as much as you think. And they're very traditionalist more than anything, which is no problems by me. I've talked to Amish people, and everybody thinks they're all, name a stereotype about them, and it really doesn't exist. They said, yeah, we don't have electricity, but we have deodorant, we have, we use shampoo and shower and all this other stuff. And they're not ones that tell you what to do, and they don't expect you to tell them what to do. I go to the Amana colonies all the time, and I buy some of the most wonderful. I will travel literally near halfway across the state to buy this shit, and it's genuinely some of the most wonderful food and products ever from the Amish folk. And they're not as closed-minded as you think. You go up to a person, you know that they're Amish by the way they dress and everything, but they don't stink. They know how to keep their beards trimmed, and their ladies are, they don't use excessive makeup. They're still attractive. Their ladies are still pretty, and you can tell them I like your dress, and they're not uptight and all this other shit. Their religious belief is what it is, but they're not forcing it upon you, and they still engage in everyday modern life. They know what a light is, and they'll go. And how do you think they get to town and do stuff? Yeah, they may travel by horse and buggy if they choose to, but they're still gonna understand what the fuck a stop sign is, what red light, what red, green, and yellow lights are, and
when they're on on the roads, they're still required to follow the
exactly. And if you visit their settlements, which I can't really think of a better word. Well, communities, I guess, they're not assholes about it either. They expect you to know that, yes, you are within the United States of America, you are in the state of Iowa, and you have to follow those laws. But on top of that, you have to be respectful of their religious beliefs and not be a jackass. And
that's what they want to do.
Yeah, and they do that to other people all the time. They're very respectful. So they don't throw it in your face. They're not proud people, but they're some of the better people that I've ever met, because they don't have to like anything you do. You don't have to like anything they do, and they're not trying to kill you off for it. Yeah,
respectful and courteous to each other. That's
pretty much it. People, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Right.
So.
Oh man. Yeah.
But my point is, they're not stupid as people think they are.
Yeah, not as backwards as they think they are.
If you really want to talk about being backwards, I would say Mormons are more backwards than the Amish are by a lot, and that all relates to ego and pride more than anything.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. If you have to look at what is that banging noise?
I don't know.
I just kind of got used to it.
It just suddenly I was like, "What is it?"
I know it's one of you. I know it's one of you two guys. I just got used to it.
Yeah, I think Mormons are a little more hardcore when they go after people that leave the church.
Yeah, the shunning.
Well, but they're a little more aggressive with it.
Well, which really makes you think they're more of a cult than anything.
Yeah, the Amish have a similar, like, you're not supposed to have contact with people, but they're not nearly as, like, it is a rule, but to the best of my knowledge, it's one of those, like, yeah, but, you know, moms and kids still, you know, see each other occasionally in secret kind of thing. Like, people overlook that you still have contact with your kids that have left the thing if they do, you know? Like,
yeah, that's Mormonism and Scientology, by the way.
Yeah.
Kind of follow the same.
And the Amish and Mennonites, they have what the Rumspringa, which basically says when you reach, it's a rite of passage. When you reach a certain age, you are allowed to technically go out into the so-called outside world, which I'm sure you've been exposed to long before that, especially in Iowa, if you go to the Amana colonies. And you're allowed to decide whether or not you want to pursue your life outside of your specific community, or if you want to stay within your specific community after a certain amount of time, which it technically means the jump and hop around, but they give them that choice. And if they decide to, after Rumspringa, to go to the non-Amish world and live in that and live their lives, they're not shunned for ever wanting to visit mom and pop.
Yeah.
But if you decide after Rumspringa to continually stay within the Amish world, you have to still abide by the rules that you've known all your life, and that's the end of the story. And then there are certain, you know, after that, if you decide that you want to be a wayward child, yeah, then there's harshness to it. But you kind of knew what you were getting into, because Rumspringa was your chance to realize, okay, maybe I want to go out and pursue an education in this part of the world, or maybe I want to go travel and see the world. And even after that, you can still come back into the Amish way of life, and you're not going to get chastised for it. So you do get a genuine chance to say, I want to go down this path in life, or I want to stick with this path in life. You have the chance to grow and explore, and you're not getting shunned and chastised for it. And Mormons and Scientologists are fucking nut jobs compared to this.
Yeah, well, they'll come after you.
Yeah, and they'll use mostly legal and financial ways to devastate you. Which, you motherfuckers can come after me all you want. I got no money, so fuck off.
but yeah,
it's a genuine idea.
Scientology is fucking even creepier than Mormonism, as far as like actively going after people. That's fucking amazing, dude. How much they go into that.
They'll hunt you down.
You don't want to know how psychotic they are, is the fact that they're buying literally into a cult created by a very terrible science fiction writer. L. Ron Hubbard, you weren't all that fucking great, buddy. Yeah. Sorry.
He wasn't even a great writer. But what was it? One of the creepier stories I read about Scientology was this young woman who was in college who, decided to get involved and went out on this retreat as like one of the, helpers or something like that. Turned out to be like slave labor. She broke either her leg or her arm, and they did not allow her to seek medical attention. Like, they actively tried to keep her locked away from being able to leave, and tried to force her to continue to do the work that they were doing, like setting up stages and putting out chairs and all the hard work of setting up major events.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
And it's
fucking evil.
I have no reason to doubt what she's saying. She said it, and there's never been a case of slander or libel brought against her. So
no, there's been too much other crazy shit.
There's no grounds for them to disprove it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, there's been too many other examples of crazy shit like that. Maybe not that extreme, but yeah, it's true.
They started when she finally managed to break out. Like, I guess one of the other people felt bad and helped her break out. And she got home. They sent people to her house. They were having people leaving threatening phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
That's real. Yeah, that's real maturity right there.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. And one of the I forget who the higher up was, but it was a dude that was pretty high up, ended up quitting, and they sent like 3 other of the higher ups after him, like with fucking video cameras, just constantly filming him and talking shit to him. And I was like, how do you guys not realize that this makes you look fucking horrible, not that guy?
Yeah.
No, but the way it is really they're only doing that for an audience of one, the main fucking cult leader guy. You know what I mean? They're only doing it to impress him, and that's all they fucking care
they're
about.
clear. They're clear. They've been cleared.
Yeah.
So it's all fine. They're aligned properly. They're cleared. Everything is focused. You know, just whatever.
Yeah. OC level 10.
That they come up with.
Is it OC? OT? What is their little thing? It's they're different levels. OT level.
It's the levels of the little aliens that live everywhere.
Yeah. The Thetans.
Thalons, yeah, Thetans. Yeah, the TH level.
Yeah.
God damn that.
Yeah. Operating Thetan. That's what the OT stands for.
Oh, Operating Thetans? Okay, yeah. Are you clear of OT?
Wow, the church defines operating Thetan as knowing and willing cause over life, thought, and matter, energy, space, and time. That last part also known as MEST or MEST for matter, energy, space, and time. Yeah, so fucking amazing, dude.
So basically midichlorians.
Yeah, essentially. Except
kind of the opposite of midichlorians.
Yeah, it's exactly like midichlorians, just the mirror of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of being
helping
good
you
force,
move rocks with your
force.
mind, they make your life miserable.
Yeah,
it's fucking retarded. That's basically that's like I said. L. Ron Hubbard wasn't even a good science fiction writer. In fact, I think his contemporary Arthur C. Clarke blew his ass out of the water. So that's why I'm more than happy enough to make fun of Scientology and the fact that you can get people who get pissed off about this. Oh, and they've tried to say that. And I've heard people try to say you're a racist, and I said, well, first off, asshole, you don't know me. Secondly, religion isn't a race, dipshit. Well, you're a bigot, and I'm like, against what? Stupidity? Well, yeah, I'm sorry, my brain can only process so much stupid.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing: is it's glaringly obvious to pretty much anyone that the reason that he wants to fucking pawn this off as a religion, it's essentially therapy, right? But he pawned it off as religion because he didn't want to have to pay taxes on selling his fucking therapy.
It's a massive tax dodge.
Yeah.
It always has been, always will be. Religion, religion is nothing but a social club and a tax dodge. I'm not saying people can't believe in God. That's fine. I have no problems with that. I'm not going to tell people what to believe. I believe there is a God. I genuinely believe that humans are too stupid to figure it out. We've got it all wrong, and because our egos and our attitudes and our presumptuousness about what we think God wants for humanity is why it all goes awry.
I could see that. I
that's
wouldn't be surprised if there's a higher power, but yeah, I would be shocked if there was, and we knew exactly what it was, and the Bible was 100% accurate.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but I get pissed off. I'll be honest. I get pissed off at God every once in a while. I'll tell him to fuck off, but it's one of those things that it's just like sometimes you just need to leave shit alone. And I think stuff like Scientology and Mormonism, it's a fucking cult more than anything. And these guys make David Koresh look good.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
And y'all know what
they're fucking extremists. Yeah. Waco.
And I remember that and shit in high school, and I'm like, what the hell is all this about? And it was basically, the feds are taking out this this cult leader of terror, and I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, I never really felt bad for Waco, Texas. I'm like, yeah, you bunch of fucking psychos breaking all sorts of laws.
And I've always said
children and stuff. Why wouldn't the cops come?
Yeah, exactly. And I've said, well, if Waco has good tacos, I'll go there. And so far, I've yet to know if they have good tacos.
Yeah,
because that's brand naming right there. Waco tacos.
Waco's tacos.
Yeah. Waco your ass up with our tacos.
Tacos, Wacos.
So if that's not English, if that ain't English, I ain't ever heard it before then.
Hey, by the way, how long have you had your little avatar thing, Dade?
Huh?
How long have you had your little avatar thing that you got going on here? Have I just never noticed it?
No, 2 weeks.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
all right.
it's a new one
just didn't
because the old
notice
one
it,
was.
man.
Yeah, I
Wasn't it a
changed it.
Simpson version of you or something?
No, that's Ed Hunter from Iron Maiden.
No, not this one. I mean the old one.
The old one was me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those. I thought it was you or something like that.
It was me, and I just changed the color on it through using a project called GIMP. And see, when I make my video, when I use my videos, my watermark is still my old picture, so people know it's me. But I use this current avatar because that's kind of my attitude about life right now. Is just like I'm tired, too old for this shit. I'm going to give you a cranky ass look, and if you don't like it, fuck off.
I was trying to place it, man, and for some reason I was thinking it was bringing to mind Mum-Ra from fucking Thundercats, but I was like, no, that's not
a little
quite
bit.
right.
Yeah, I can see that. A little.
Yeah,
little
no, I knew it was kind of bugging me this whole time. I'm like, what the fuck is that? It's like I said, it kind of reminded me of Mum-Ra, but I knew that wasn't right.
Well, if you want to know where I got it, go watch Iron Maiden "Run to the Hills" by Camp Chaos.
Yeah, no, I remember. I'm familiar with the Eddie character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you look at him in a certain light, he looks like a gruff bulldog too.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, cranky ass bulldog face. That's me.
Yeah, maybe a little bit like the Thing from the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, just that disinterested look of why the fuck are you bothering me? What do you want? And that's pretty much what I've been about it recently. I used to do live streams left, right, and center, and I got burned out by them. So now I do vlogs, and I did one vlog, which was shooting off the hip, and then I did a follow-up, which I did as number 0, which I should have done first, about what I really want to talk about, which are morals and ethics, because I don't give a shit about politics. They're crap anyway. And people talk about that
silly parts.
Yeah, people talk about that shit all the time, and it gets tiring. So when I do my vlogs, I could probably do one a day, but I would get burned out. So I'm trying to. It's like basically I'll end up probably doing one a week, because not only do I not have a fan base or a Patreon, which I would love to have, but I really want to structure what I talk about. And so one of the videos that I'm going to work on is about the what we would consider equality. Why because morals and ethics are not the same thing, and they don't always play nice. And in some cases, you have an abundance of one and nothing of the other. And and to an extent, they are interchangeable.
Well, I think Sargon of Akkad made some really good points. Although I know he's not as good now, but early on, back in the old days when he was a little more critical thinking and a little less, I don't know, whatever way you would call the nonsense that they're all doing now.
Liberalist.
Just the nonsense where they get up to these just ridiculous arguments that don't fucking matter. And these silly fucking gripes and vendettas and fucking grudges they hold with each other over nonsense.
Well, the biggest thing is that the biggest thing that I've seen them lose their way is they don't know how to accept criticism, whether it be positive or negative or constructive criticism. They're failing to take things away from that. If I say something and then I backtrack on it, and somebody says, "No, Dade, you said this earlier," like, "Oh, okay, I did. Yeah, my bad." I'll cop to it, and I'll say, "Okay, I learned something today." People seem to. That's one of the biggest moral dilemmas that we have, is nobody wants to seem to learn anything these days because we think we know it all, and that's not how it works.
Well, and you got to cop to the things you used to say, but you can also say, but since then I've changed my mind.
Yeah. Right.
And it's not, and it's not really, yeah. And for somebody to consistently say, well, you don't have the right to change your mind. Bullshit. You do have a right to change your mind.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And sometimes it changes back, because change is the only constant in this universe. And the second you accept that, better your life is going to be.
Yeah. Being willing to change your mind should be a fucking thing of strength, instead of saying, no, I'm never revisiting anything ever again. I'm going to think this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it seems like, and I've talked about this from time to time, it seems like once they get above a certain sub count, like a certain subscriber count, they start to be too propped up by their fucking sycophantic fans, and they start feeling infallible. And partly they don't want to feel embarrassed, I think, too. But I think it's too many sycophantic fans telling them how great and perfect they are, and then they're like, oh, well, I must be right all the time now. You know.
Oh, you can really
you
see
don't
that
let
with
your
the blood
fans go.
sports.
You don't let your fans go Travis Bickle. There's your thing.
Right.
Well, you can really see that with the silly blood sports types internet stuff. The YouTubers that do that stuff's really
Well, unless
like,
you're
that is
base,
extremely.
unless you're base mama and you say you have a fucking IQ of 178, which is fucking Lex Luthor levels, by the way. No, she doesn't, and no, you
I
don't.
think that was taken out of context, though, if I'm not mistaken. Like,
No,
I think
if she was being a smartass, she shouldn't have tweeted my IQ is 178. And I'm like, I doubt that.
Well, no, there was a
we're
video
actually
she did
both
where she was
fans
talking
of
about
hers,
IQ.
That was cringy.
And I think she was making fun of it in the video, and then said something about that in a Twitter to like promote the video.
She shouldn't have tweeted it because it backfired on her. It backfired on her immensely.
No, well, the problem was Medicare took a ton of stuff out of context.
Oh, that's him. He loves the shit stir stuff, and it does have disastrously hilarious results.
It bothers me when the sort of blood sports actively damage, events, people's careers, without necessarily any valid point behind them.
Yeah, other than
they're not necessarily accurately, portraying these things to destroy them. And that's my concern. But I mean, I don't know. Is that a moral or ethical issue?
Well, I would say you feel it's morally but you are also describing it as unethical in the professional sense that it's not necessary.
Yeah, that's basically for views, clicks and views, and they don't really give a shit about ruining anybody's life.
But you got to remember, when you do videos for a living and you're getting a Patreon, that is your business, and morals don't always necessarily have a place within business ethics.
Yeah, but there's no reason I shouldn't criticize it.
No, you have a right to.
Yeah,
you have
that's my concern.
You have a right to criticize it just as much as a person who you criticize has a right to refute your criticism. That's just life. Yeah. People need to
one of the things that I've noticed is with these people, their reputation is always, oh, I'm just an entertainer. But they continue to try to take the moral high ground. So you can't, in my mind, it doesn't work. You can't claim the moral high ground and then refuse to actually defend it.
See, I don't even know what the hell a moral high ground is. If I take it, I don't even know it, because when I do a vlog, which I don't even know how to make videos yet, and I'm really wanting to work on a book series, which I love. But when I do my vlogs, I just try to bring things across as the common level, the everyman stuff. And I think a lot of things fall within the boundaries of morals and ethics more than anything to get you to think about stuff. Because one of the things that I've ever learned is if I'm wrong about something, I'm wrong about something. That's great. But when I'm right, it scares the shit out of people.
I think when you're taking the moral high ground is essentially claiming that you have the ability to tell whether somebody else is immoral without actually providing evidence.
Yeah, or a liar,
I don't think I've ever gotten
whatever.
there yet.
That's my problem with the blood sports stuff is what they do. I'm not saying it's what you do, because totally different thing. But that's my concern. There is they're claiming.
I guess what you would say, what I like to do is just give reasons for critical thinking and to think mull stuff over.
And that's the kind of stuff that's really positive. And I don't necessarily mean that I think that nobody should ever be able to say anything like that. I mean, obviously people are going to do it whether I want them to or not. But I think it's pretty fucking inappropriate to do that in general, and I don't necessarily think
especially when it seems to be in lieu of an argument.
I don't necessarily think it's okay in every situation, because like it literally, I think in some cases violates like slander and libel laws to a certain extent. I mean,
I'm sure it does, but the internet is still a bit of the wild.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think it's ever going to come to anything. I don't think there's going to be any lawsuits.
Yeah, because those are still going to be
anytime soon
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of this stuff is in the political arena, so you'd have to prove intent to harm as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It'd be a tough case to prove if somebody actually brought it up on a lot of these things.
Yeah, it would be really difficult. But they're still doing all this damage nonetheless. So it's kind of unfortunate. I don't know. I mean, I'm torn because I love the anonymity and the Wild West of the internet, but I also kind of wish there was some sort of way to deal with these people that are kind of fucking over a lot of people for no reason other than to get themselves some money. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say there's a reason.
Like scam artist kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, it's really seeing people fucking do the pearl clutching and the outrage over essentially very little or nothing in a lot of cases is pretty fucking disheartening, to say the least. No. You know, it's like you know.
Well, here's the thing for me. The big three: Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter are guilty of this beyond the pale. I know that when I make a video, I am asked by YouTube, if you want to use our service, please try to keep it with what we consider appropriate guidelines, which we know they're hypocritical about that.
Oh, yeah.
So what do I do? I make videos that basically, I choose to make videos. Have you thought about something in this way instead of, which is what you should do when you're raising kids. I mean, sure, you have to discipline them, but you don't have to bust their ass every 5 seconds about something. Yeah. Instead of saying, don't do this, don't do that, because that leads to the problem of they'll catch you basically do as I say, not as I do. If you give them the option of, have you thought about it this way? Well, when I make videos that I do my vlogs, I know that YouTube can say, no, you can't be on our platform. And like, well, that's the way it goes. So I'm appreciative that they allow me to be on their platform. So I try to play nice, not because I can't be a vicious bastard, because I can. And of course that would serve no purpose. So when I make my vlogs, it's like, this is, and I call it zero tolerance because I really talk about things that piss me off and bug me. But I do it in, I try to do it in a way of, I've got this is the beef that I have. Now, how can I resolve this? And I say, well, if you run across this certain beef, maybe you can resolve it like this. Maybe, if it falls within this moral boundary or this ethical boundary. So, and I can do critical thinking, and I can basically say, so when you're in the long run, when you come into this situation here, you still have the option to think for yourself and to do for yourself what you think is best for you and to be the best person that you can help you be and make others be by leading by example. And in no way, shape, or form does that violate YouTube's TOS. So I'm basically playing by the rules because I choose to play by certain rules. Now, do I find a lot of what YouTube does morally reprehensible? Yeah. Is it unethical? Yeah. But again, business ethics and morals don't always play nice, let alone coexist.
Yeah, but they definitely seem to be selective in their fucking enforcement.
Right. But if they say to me, hey, Dade, we're going to allow you to monetize because you now have 1,000 subscribers. Yeah, I wish. I'd be like, okay. I would basically make a video saying, hey, guys, I got monetized for videos now. So please understand, if you see an ad, just let the ad play. And if you see something that you like, feel free to look up at your convenience if you were interested or not to buy the product, because that's what all ads are designed to do, is make you buy shit you don't need. But occasionally you will run into something like if you're thinking one day, I could really use some new tires on my car. Should I get something that I'm, like what kind of tire should I get? And then if by some weird coincidence you see Michelin tires as an ad before my video saying, oh, hey, I was thinking about new tires. I might consider these. They look like they could do a job. That's the best way to have an ad. I've run across ads where I don't give a shit about the product.
Well,
but I will run across people that need a certain product because something's happened and say, hey, I heard about this. So I pass along information and I don't shove it down anybody's throat.
Well, it sounds like you're talking about the way Adam Carolla does his stuff. And I think that's probably the better way to go than to get, like, there's no reason not to monetize videos for YouTube. Any amount of money you get is great. But I think the way he does it makes so much more sense, is try to find products that your audience will actually be interested in and work out your own deal with the people that make those products.
Yeah, do a sponsorship. Yeah.
Do sponsorships, do like ad reads yourself.
Yeah,
that's the way.
I'm sure he's used to that since he worked in radio. I
don't even know how to make a Patreon yet, and I don't know if I ever will.
Well, and 1,000 subs is really not the level you need to be at to do that. You definitely want to have about 100,000 before you start.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, but yeah.
Well, but I mean, for a lot of stuff, you know.
Yeah, because there's people that only have like 10 to 20,000 that could probably make a decent amount from Patreon if they're fanatical. If their fans are fanatical enough.
I'm talking about the going and seeking out your own advertisement.
Okay, I gotcha. Sorry about that.
If you're going to sell yourself to a company, as you'll be able to market their product in a beneficial way, you're going to get a lot more numbers than 1,000.
Yeah, they're not going to be interested until you're at 100,000, probably. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I misread what you're talking about.
Well, you can find some companies that may be in the 20,000 range, but you know, still, it's the way to go, I think.
Yeah, gotcha.
And to be honest, I don't think as of right now, I don't think I have anything remotely interesting to where I'm gonna make, you know, X amount of subs anyway. Which it's gonna get to the point where I'm never gonna do this as a full-time career thing, and I think that's probably the dumbest thing you can think of is, yeah, I can do this as a full-time career. That's not the way life works, but if it's like, oh, hey, I can do a video and I know how to promote myself and I get 100,000 followers within a year, well, that means I know how to promote myself and I'm getting to an audience that likes what I have to say and I can share things with them and they can take it for what it is instead of, oh, they have to be, you know, waiting for me to entertain them every 5 fucking seconds.
Yeah, well, this is always, to me, like this Untitled Studios channel where we have like, we have some old gameplay. I'd like to bring some gameplay videos back, but you know, this has always been something I do as a hobby for fun. Like, I'm not like, it'd be great if people want to watch it, but if nobody watches it, I'd still want to do this.
Yeah.
You know, getting to just sit and talk about bullshit and parse these sort of philosophical points and get into weird, you know, discussions about whatever. You know, that's what's entertaining to me.
Yeah, it seems it's always a good conversation, at least for my end. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what
who cares?
I figure as long as I'm
it'd be nice if people watched. It'd be nice if people watched, but yeah, you know, for me, I do it because I still enjoy bullshitting with you about whatever the fuck we bullshit about.
Yeah. and having people on like Dade, you know, like getting on as many interesting people as we can get. That's my goal.
Yeah. Dade, Mad Metal Man's been on. Yeah, we've gotten a few. Yeah. Dude, I don't know about you, man, but I'm fucking winding down. My back is really starting to kill me. Are we gonna go on for a lot longer, you think? Or
I was trying to tie it up. I was gonna say, but I think Dave made a really good point.
Sorry.
I think Dave made a really good point though. When it comes to what we were talking about is just put out the stuff you want to put out and promote, and that's the best way to solve any issue. Is to be the example of what you're talking about.
Right. Indeed.
As opposed to just complaining.
Yeah. Well, be the light you want to see in others.
Yeah. Well, I also think that one of the things, if and when you do a Patreon or whatever, you should probably make it clear to people, hey, I appreciate your patronage and your support. I'm going to make videos that I want to make, and I will take a few suggestions, but I'm not going to be beholden to everything that you guys want because that'll ruin everything anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the way you got to approach it is, look, I'll take your money, I will take your suggestions, but ultimately I'm going to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Way to go.
And you got to appreciate your fans, and they've got to know that there's boundaries, because I've seen people that have channels that had Patreons and they became corrupted, and Spoonie is one of them.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
all right, let's let that be our parting message. Don't become Spoonie.
Well, I wasn't saying don't become Spoonie. I was saying don't make a Patreon and then let your fans dictate what you're going to do. Be in consistent communication with them and share ideas and try to have a good balance. Don't let things corrupt you.
Yeah, ultimately do what you want to do.
Or them, and don't let it corrupt them either.
Yeah.
All right. I was just aiming for the joke of it, really.
Well, you failed miserably.
I was aiming for sarcasm. Check out
callback.
Dade L.
Not
Murphy
necessarily
on
a joke,
YouTube.
but a callback.
That is your channel, correct? Dade L. Murphy.
Yeah,
so
Dade L. Murphy.
Check out his channel.
Dade L. Murphy 85 on Twitch at Dade L. Murphy, and you know what? Don't even worry about promoting me. I'll end up. It's fine. You can find me on Dade L. Murphy 85 on YouTube if you choose to do so.
There we go. All right. I figure you're on. We might as well for anybody who's made it this far.
Well, you can also put my channel down in your links.
That's a good idea. I should do that for you and for
I do that all the time for people.
I'm so bad at promoting anything. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. And we're going to sign off now. So you guys have a great afternoon.
Everybody